We're officially live, so let's go ahead and tweet out our tweets. All right, there we go. Where is the YouTube page? Oh, there it is. All right, so let's find the YouTube link. If you got to go, we have to actually go to our YouTube page.
Yeah.
For link, library.
The joy of starting a show.
Yes. First live broadcast is always going to be a train wreck.
Of course. But you know what? That's what makes it fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's Socks Math After Dark. So, okay, well, I can minimize this. Let's go here. We'll get notifications, YouTube. And I think I have a push notice that says that we have started the Tainted Glove. And there should be a live video currently going right now. Yeah. Okay, there it is.
Hey, there we are.
And there should be, that's me talking, a live video. All right, so I got that. So, okay, let's go ahead and we'll share it out. Right now, it looks like we only have one person watching. So, thank goodness.
That's me.
Oh, that's you. And Twitch, too, man. Yeah, that shit sucks. We can't share with Twitch either. Oh, that's annoying. All right. That's not the right account. I have like 3 accounts open right now. I feel like this is the one we wanted. Okay, Twitch, live streaming, Twitter.
For those of you joining us, we are tweeting out
Correct.
To our link to everybody. So hang in there. We'll be starting very shortly.
Oh, whoa. Join us live, not lice. Whoops. Boo.
Oh, good. I did type in live. Hey, Brandon, how's it going? See you out there watching us. Welcome. You are the first guest, or I should say first viewer. So you hold the distinction of being the first viewer. And he probably already logged off because he's like, these guys are idiots.
What the hell? All right, there we go. So the first one, I've thumbed it out with regular Twitter, so it's out. So that's going. Yep. And then we'll see that's going there. Let me go. I'm just going to retweet it myself.
Yep.
Bam. Retweet and. All right. Oh.
Yeah, we're in the passive phase right now. Hey, go.
All right, Tainted Glove, and I'll do the last one. We're out, and then hashtag old guys, hashtag golden girls, hashtag
Bears.
Hashtag golden girl. There it is. All right.
At Money Baby LV.
Right. Oh, I had to collect a bunch of those. Actually, we'll talk about that in a second, though. All right. So, all right. So I got the record going. We'll go ahead and play the intro, and then once we get the intro going, we will be underway. So, oh crud! Unless I hit the wrong button and do what I just did, which is make my Chrome.
Hey, Brandon, you still with us?
Hey, Brandon, don't leave.
Yeah.
We ready. We ready. Here we go. Okay, here we go. All right, let me go ahead and start the music. All right, so here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
It's time for the Tainted Glove, starring your favorite man of questionable character, Aloha Mr. Hand.
Hey, bud, let's party.
And the Holy Reverend K. Fitz himself. It's go time. So grab a beer, grab a bite, and settle in. It's time for the Tainted Glove.
Aloha. Today is Monday, October 18th, 2021, and welcome to the Tainted Glove. This is our first attempt at going live, so bear with us as we struggle and fight through. Today, we hope to accomplish more than a Matt Nagy offense. And with that, I'll turn it over to my partner in crime, the Honorable Reverend K-Fids. K-Fids, take it away.
I assume you're asking us to be you in our moments we're running ourselves. But hey, welcome, guys. Yeah, this is welcome to the Pinwheels and Ivy. This is the first live broadcast we've ever kind of put together. So welcome. This is a little experiment as far as getting an opportunity to kind of interact with you guys as well, get a chat going at the same time. Right now, we're live on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, we appreciate you guys popping in there. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a rating. Tell us we suck. It's great. Awesome. Tell us that you love Aloha's balls. I mean, the one in the background, because you can finally see it live now. You can see the decorations he has there. He's got lots of balls.
Yes.
Not the Hannibal Lecter kind of collection, which is great. But no, welcome. Yeah, this is we were off last week because, Pete was here in Vegas enjoying the fruit of the Sin City. But we're back now this week after that little bit of a layoff. Plenty to talk about. Got some hot takes coming in tonight, too. Yesterday was Bears-Packers weekend, or ended yesterday. Ended Bears-Packers weekend yesterday. So that was pretty brutal as far as Bears fans are concerned. So we have some thoughts on that. We have some thoughts on, obviously, the White Sox finishing out their season, the Cubs and their barren roster for 2022. And then we're going to talk a little bit of movies, too. Had a couple of little bit of extra time the last couple of weeks, or last couple of days or whatever, to go see a couple films. And Pete's done the same. We've seen the same films, in fact,
Yes.
both of which were 2 hours and 45 minutes plus each movie. So that was kind of, we have a lot of spare time on our hands, unfortunately.
A lot of popcorn consumed.
Oh my God, yes. The salt content alone. But so before, as we get going, again, we appreciate you guys tuning in for the live broadcast. Obviously, this is something that we're just trying for the first week. So anyway, we're going to go jump right to it. Pete, yesterday was Bears-Packers Sunday. We got a lot of excitement going up. You and I got to watch the Bears handily beat the Raiders here live in Las Vegas. Had a lot of positive juju going into the game. Everything looked like the Bears were headed towards one of those games where they hit the Packers in the mouth and they somehow steal one. And the game started well. Bears out to a 7-0 lead. We're driving to score, take another maybe 10 or 14-0 lead. An offsides wasn't called and everything changed. And then the game went south. So let's start talk right now. First off, besides of course disappointment, what are your thoughts? And let's go. I know you had some stuff to say.
I do have some stuff to say, and watching that game, the first offensive series for each team, I tweeted out how it looked like the Mac attack was back in the first drive of the game. Quinn also showed up as well, and I thought things were looking well. Then the Bears marched down the field and scored a touchdown, and everything was rosy. After that, it looked like Matt Nagy took over. And there is something I have to say about this coaching staff. They may be, without question, the dumbest coaching staff in the NFL. They cannot adjust. They have no clue how to take what's given to them and use it to their advantage. And I will give you the prime example. I'll give you a couple of examples actually. First, did you know that the center for the Packers left the game injured and they had a backup center play for about 3, maybe 3.5 quarters? Did you know that?
I did not.
Yes. Did they once try and put someone on top of the center since he's a backup and rush up the gut because he's a backup? No, they did not. Did you know that at that point in the game, 3 of the 5 offensive linemen for the Packers were backups? Again, not trying to take advantage of an obviously crippled offensive line. Second, did you know that 3 of the 4 defensive backs were also backups? Because the Packers lost one during the game. Did they once try and throw anything over the middle? Nope. Deep slant, deep straight routes. That's all they did. never once tried to go across the middle. This is not how you win football. And mostly, this is probably going to be considered by some a meatball take, but you're playing the Packers. This is the oldest rivalry in the NFL. If you want to guarantee yourself a spot in the playoffs, how do you guarantee yourself a spot in the playoffs? You win your division. How do you win your division? By beating teams in your division. Last time I checked, the Packers are in the same division, as well as the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Rodgers has gone 22-5 against the Bears. Think about that. 22-5. That's embarrassing. They should be humiliated. And they sit there and talk about how they want to go to the playoffs and everything else. Well, guess what? Going to the playoffs starts by winning your division. If you can't beat your main rival in the division, you will not go to the playoffs. It's that simple. It's not like you're playing a 162 game schedule where if you lose to a division rival a couple times, you still have 16, 17 more games to go? No, you have 2 games to go against each division rival. Guess what? If you beat them, you go 6-0 in division. Each team will have at least 2 losses. That's pretty damn good odds that you will win your division. But again, the Bears play this stupid brand of football. And I know some people are like, well, at least they were able to run. But you know what? Being able to run without throwing a pass really does nothing for you. Because all you do is run off the clock, try and run up the middle, and guess what? They adjust, and then they attack, which is exactly what happened. Justin Fields, he looked like a rookie, which you should expect because guess what? He is a rookie. You're not giving him a chance to win. You're not letting him, to quote Matt Nagy, be you. You're not letting him be him. You're not letting him use his natural talents. And will his talents work out in the NFL? Nobody knows. But you know what? You got to give him the opportunity to show them off so you can see if they will work, because the game plan you're saddling this kid with just doesn't work. Plain and simple. This coaching staff has to go. They don't understand modern football. And again, there was another stat quoted. I think it was like 26 out of 57 games or something like that. The Bears have scored 20 points or less. You're not going to win in today's NFL with that. This isn't 1985 where defense and running the ball rule. The league is built around passing. Like it, don't like it, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. The league is built for passing. The Bears don't understand this, and they need to stop living in 1985. They need to get an offensive identity. They don't have Walter Payton behind the line of scrimmage carrying the ball for them. Far from it. They need to basically gut this coaching staff. Get them all out of here. Get Pace out of here. The guy's done more damage to this team than anyone can imagine. They're in cap hell. They're in draft hell because they've traded away all their damn draft picks. And this team is going to be in the shitter for the next 10 years. That's all I got to say. And yes, Jack, you're right. That play on 1st and goal was a Matt Nagy special.
And the funny thing is, you bring it up as you're talking about this too. You're talking about the league is a passing league, and I'm watching right now the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry just ripped off a 75-yard touchdown run or something like that. That team is still, with the best runner probably in the game, a passing team. Even though, because Ryan Tannehill goes out there and he slings it around when he has to. Like, you have to have both, I think, but the passing aspect has to be good. The play calling also has to be, good enough to. It just boggles my mind that this whole belief that Matt Nagy is an offensive guru, and what did you say? It was like almost 70-some-odd% of the time he's not throwing up more than 20 points a game. Like, that's ridiculous to me, is that they're not putting up numbers. And you could say it's a personnel issue, but I mean, is it a personnel issue if it's 3rd and 7 and Allen Robinson is standing on the sidelines and not even in the ball game on a crucial 3rd and 7? What the hell are you doing?
Yes.
I mean, are you worried that he's tapped out? Because maybe he is. Maybe he quit. Maybe he quit on him. Maybe that's why he's sitting, on the sidelines. He's given up or something. But it just doesn't make sense to me why you don't have your best personnel in your biggest moments. They're on the sidelines. I don't know if you're trying to prove a point or what Nagy's trying to do, but you could tell that Nagy's hand, after, again, success last week, a lot of praise going to his offensive coordinator, all of a sudden you can start seeing those Nagyisms pop back up. It's like he can't keep his hands out of the cookie jar. And in this case, you have an issue that the goal line stand. And the game was actually, they were going all right. It seemed like things, momentum early was good. The first quarter was the Bears kind of ran the show a little bit, and then it was, they get to midfield up 7-0. Herbert had a great, great drive too. Had a really good, solid game as the third string running back. But you get to midfield, Justin Fields gets under center, 3rd and 7 there too. Dude clearly jumps off sides from the Green Bay Packers. Everybody assumes it's a free play. Like everyone, the broadcasters to the players to the fans, everybody's, oh, sweet, free play. And I actually said this out loud, the place that I was watching it. I go, oh my God, free play. Holy shit, we got a quarterback that actually takes a shot with a free play. Like I actually said that out loud. And he takes the shot, he gets picked. I'm like, no big deal, right? But you got to take the shot. And then there's no flag. Nope. And so the Bears at that point, everything in that entire ball game changed right there because the Bears were on point. They were pushing. You get 3rd and 2. They probably convert there because it's you probably just run a naked bootleg and you got a first down. They go on. They either kick a field goal. Maybe they score another touchdown. It's 14-0. The game is completely different. But then you move worse. The first play of the entire series at the 20-yard line for the Packers, Aaron Rodgers drops back, throws an incomplete pass, gets hit, shoves his hand in the eyes of Gibson. Or was it Gibson? Was it Gibson? No. Who hit him? It wasn't Mac, right?
Oh, no. It was the guy who got hurt too, wasn't it?
It wasn't Hicks, but
no,
shoves his hand right in the mask and grabs his face mask. Nothing. He pulls back and points at Aaron Rodgers, telling him to knock that shit off, and gets unsportsmanlike taunting. Yeah, it's incredible. And that right there, and then the spots. There were so many different. The phantom holding call on Herbert's long touchdown run. The game felt like it went. 3rd and 2 is always a jet sweep. It went from the Bears possibly going out there to deliver a major shot to the Packers. It's not a death blow in the first quarter, but you jump out 10-0, 14-0. You've got the Packers on their heels, and your defense can do what it does best, which is tee off on Aaron Rodgers. If you have that, but you don't.
Yes. I don't know about that because Khalil Mack was conveniently on the sidelines for a lot of 3rd down plays, which I don't understand. This is your high-priced defensive superstar, stalwart, whatever term you want to use, and he's on the sideline for 3rd down plays. Really?
And I wonder if it's the nickel package or are they running what? You have to wonder what they're running that keeps him out of it that they're not liking. But yeah, you're right. And he is 5th in the league in sacks. And
yes,
what's his name?
Sean. I'm right there with you. By the way, he does get all the calls, and he still whines. And he still whines when he doesn't get one.
Or how about this? You're in field goal range. It's 3rd down, and your rookie quarterback with 5 seconds to go on the play clock calls timeout. You ignore him. You throw the flag for delay of game. Now, Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, we're familiar with the old hard 0, 2 seconds after the play clock hits 0, still snapping it and not getting the old delay of game, saying it takes them that long, 2 seconds for them to look from the play clock up to the snap. Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Okay, they couldn't even see Justin Fields calling a timeout, blatantly giving the hand gestures. They ignored him. And then the next play, of course, 3rd and long, you've got to, of course, drop him back. And what happens? He gets sacked, and we're out of field goal range and everything again. There were so many things that just knocked in. But then you look at the offense itself, and you look at what the Bears could have done to improve upon this. And the fact is they put up 7 points until, 8 minutes to go in the game.
It was about that, yes.
That was the big moment. It's 17-14. You've held Aaron Rodgers to 17 points. You're in the 4th quarter. You got to get the big stop, the big drive from Aaron Rodgers. Instead, he goes down. What did he go down? 80 some odd yards for a touchdown. Runs it in. Says, "I still own you."
Yes, I want to talk about that.
Just delivers the punch to the nuts.
I want to talk about that too. I want to talk about the "I still own you" comment. As disgusting as I think it is, I'm so glad he did it. Do you know why I'm glad he did it? Maybe management will see that they think that your chief rival, the oldest rivalry in the NFL, a division foe, has no fucking respect for you. That starts at the top and works all the way down. They don't respect you. They're not scared of you. And you know what? Until you do something, that's the way it's going to be. Now, they're going to go into Green Bay like in a month, I think it is, whenever it is, when they go to Green Bay. And they're going to get shellacked. And, to Yumper's point, yes, they develop draft players. Do you know why they develop and draft players? Because they're smarter than the Bears. They can identify talent, and they can build a plan around the talent they have, not build a plan about what they want to do, not understanding the talent that they have. That was the problem. That was the problem with Trubisky. They did not build a plan around what that guy can do. So far, they're not building a plan around what Fields can do. And again, Fields, I hate saying this, but Fields may wind up the same way Trubisky did, a bust. Would Trubisky have, up yours, Jacob. Would Trubisky have been a superstar? Doubtful. Would he have been an adequate quarterback? We will never know. And the other thing, that's because the hipster doofus of a GM thought, I'm going to be slick, and I'm going to trade up and draft this guy, so that way if he comes out, I'll look like a genius. Well, you know what? You look like a jackass for trading up and getting him because it didn't work. And then you look like a jackass for all the other moves you've made. Signing Andy Dalton for $10 million when you could have got him for like $3 million last year. And your offensive coordinator advised against it because he coached him in Cincinnati. I mean, this is, and to Yumper's point, he's absolutely right. They needed to bring in Ernie Accorsi from the New York Giants to help find a GM and a coach. And that's when they hired Pace, and that's when they hired John Fox as the head coach. Mm-hmm. They do not have any clue. Ted Phillips is in charge, for God's sakes. He's an accountant. He doesn't know the first damn thing about the game. Ted Phillips, he has one job left in my mind. That's to make the stadium in Arlington Heights be as awesome as the stadium in Las Vegas, or as awesome as Jerry World in Dallas, or as awesome as SoFi Stadium in LA. That's his only responsibility as far as I'm concerned. That should be his only responsibility. They need to bring someone in who understands the game of football, who knows how to identify talent, and then a coaching staff who knows how to develop and deploy said talent. And I'm talking about a coach staff where it's not like you have a system coach where, I do Lovey in his cover 2 defense, as an example. That's a system coach. I want a coach like Don Shula because I think Don Shula encapsulates this perfectly. Most of you, with the exception of maybe Jack, sorry, Jack, don't remember the Dolphins of the 70s, the Zonka kick Mercury Morris Dolphins, where it was Bob Greasy getting his arm sore from handing the ball off to those 3 guys. Miami drafts a quarterback named Dan Marino. And then Shula goes, hey, this kid can pass. I need to restructure the offense from a running team to to the Marino core with Mark Clayton and Mark Duper. That's the kind of coach you need. One who can take the talent that's there and build a game plan around it. Not have a game plan defined and then, expect the pieces to fit into what he does even though they don't fit. It's like the Packers are playing chess and the Bears are playing a bad game of checkers.
Well, I feel like this entire Matt Nagy era has been about kicking the can down the road. Yes. If that makes sense. I feel like every single year, look, his offense actually is worse than John Fox's offense. And John Fox was running a vanilla offense to keep Mitchell Trubisky from getting killed. That was it. He was running basically run, and run. And that was it. And that offense, just run, is better than Matt Nagy's offense of whatever that. Because again, when you look at this, I'm sorry, I look at all these other teams and I see these other teams, and every time they scheme something, their wide receivers aren't just making great catches into coverage. They're wide open. And I don't see wide open receivers in this scheme ever. Like there is usually nobody that's not covered like a blanket. And with a blanket, it's unbelievable to see. And it feels like every year Matt Nagy has an excuse. Well, I have Mitchell Trubisky. I can't open up the whole playbook because he's just dumb and I have to throw him under the bus. I need a real quarterback, a veteran quarterback. Oh, we got Nick Foles. Nick Foles knows this offense. He's a veteran. Nick Foles sucks in the offense. Well, it's Nick Foles. He's not really. We got Andy Dalton now. Andy Dalton's good. He can't run the offense either. Okay, well, now we got a rookie. So it's now the fourth can. We're on the fourth can he's kicked. And it's constantly him basically excusing himself. At what point are we going to see the whole playbook? Because I don't even think this thing exists. It's like looking for the other Ronald Reagan's head. Like, I don't know. It's not there. So I don't know. To me, it feels like it's a grift. And it feels like he always just finds somebody else to throw under the bus so that it's not his fault. And in the end, it's the scheme. The scheme sucks. The scheme in a perfect world, maybe it does work if you're playing video game simulations. But in the real world where people adapt and they can go off after they're done with their 20 plays that they script pregame, once the game script's out, these other coaches are making adjustments. Matt Nagy is a coach that has a very good first 15 plays, and after he goes and the script is up, he's screwed. He has nothing to show for it. That's why they always have these, even under Trubisky, they would have really good first drives all the time. And it was because they had a great game script, but the minute that they had to adapt and, it was no longer something they prepped all week. Mm-mm.
I disagree with you to a certain extent on the game script, because if it was such a game script, you wouldn't have to call a fucking timeout during those first 15 plays. And that's happened numerous times too.
That's personnel.
They had to call timeout because
he gets his personnel in late. That's the problem.
Right.
Nagy too busy
if you know what the plays are. But if you know what the plays are, that should not happen. You should have that personnel ready to go.
Yeah, that's right. But that's a coaching staff
who isn't ready to go. Get rid of them.
Yep, and that's a coaching staff though too. Like not having guys where they need to be at the right time. And with a rookie quarterback, it is 100% on the onus is on the coaching staff to make sure everybody is where they need to be, because the rookie's already dealing with enough. It's not Justin Fields' job to make sure that Jimmy Graham's in a short yardage situation. That's got to come from the sidelines, and they get him in so late because they're trying to, again, especially after that. I feel like after the game script over, I mean, you get in the 2-minute warning. I feel like Matt Nagy is that guy that panics. He turns into the coach from Waterboy before he found his confidence. He's all sorts fucking flustered and he doesn't know what he's doing. And
we need Matt Nagy to get that Roy Orbison tattoo on his ass.
Well, like on that 3rd and 7, that big third down conversion they didn't get with Robinson on the sideline. You're short field and you roll him out to the short side of the field. Like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, you can roll him out left and maybe he's throwing across his body, but it's also Justin Fields. If there's a gap, he's going to cut that, hit that gap, and take the 7 yards. Big
Who's
lineman.
Down in the Buffalo game that they're carting off.
One of the linemen, he just got popped on top of the pile. They were about to score a touchdown. Derrick Henry's about to score again.
Good. At least he's giving a thumbs up. That's good.
Yeah, he just got knocked. He looked like he was out cold. I think he got knocked his bell rung because he went over the pile. It looks like someone hit him hard and he got his helmet rung a little bit, but they're obviously being careful.
Okay. At least he was giving a thumbs up. That's good.
Yeah, so I think I hear he's coming from over the top. So here he comes, and then doink right there. And then he's just a big guy, and he falls. He flips over, and he was once he got down, he was like out.
Yeah.
Lewin is his name. Yeah, he hits the ground like that, and he just. I could take this touchdown right here from Derrick Henry for some fantasy points, though. I'll take that.
Yeah. Sean Jankowski posted something about Peyton Manning for owner. Well, the Bears are a $4 billion entity. I seriously doubt that they are going to sell. But I have heard, I believe it was Sylvie. I think it was Sylvie on ESPN 1000 talk about having Peyton Manning come in as your football czar and telling Ted Phillips, okay, you handle the business side. See, I have no problem. Ted Phillips is the one who basically made the peace between the Bears and the city of Chicago, because Michael McCaskey fucked that up so bad.
My favorite sign was I want to say it was like a small little mom and pop restaurant on Lake Street down near Bloomingdale Road that always, after all that stuff happened, McCaskey has no Ditka was up on that sign for like a year at least. At that point. But I thought that was always funny because I'm like, they didn't want to take it. They were taking it down. Wannstedt?
Yeah. And Jack, I'm right there with you. Thanks for that visual. I'm gonna have I'm gonna need a moment or two because of that. Thanks a lot.
So those of you that are wondering what the great Cafid one had to say is that my daughter's watching Dancing with the Stars. I do know the acronym, by the way.
Yes.
And acronym, and it's Grease Night. So they're showing the clip of Olivia Newton-John in those black pants, and he says, "I'll be back in a couple."
And she is the one that, she is the one that I want. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Want to meet? Oh, yes, indeed.
But
she still looks gorgeous too. By the way, she's gorgeous still at her age today. Like her and Wonder Woman. What's her name? Linda Carter still looks great.
Yes, and Barbara Eden still got her fastball at. I think she's close to like 90 now.
Yep. Well, I mean, so is I feel like Linda Carter's like in her late 70s, isn't she? She's got
something like that. Yeah, but there's two things I think that Bears management cannot ignore.
70.
Yeah. There's two things I think that Bears management cannot ignore anymore. One, Aaron Rodgers yesterday screaming, "I still own you," and two, I believe it was in Cleveland when they caught Foles telling Dalton, "Matt's offense isn't working."
Yep.
They both, and don't
chuckling
forget
on the sidelines.
Yes. It is not a good look for this team. You are the charter franchise of the NFL. Virginia McCaskey, your father founded the NFL. And this is what you accept. It's, to me, in a lot of ways, it's the curse of Chicago. With the exception of the Bulls in the 90s and the Blackhawks, Chicago's accepted mediocrity for years. The White Sox, the Cubs, accepted mediocrity all those years. And, it's fans need to demand more. The problem is these owners are getting so much money, they don't care about putting a winning product on the field. It's the Jerry Reinsdorf thing.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do just enough to finish in second place because it looks like we're competitive, but we don't have to spend the big dollars and say to be competitive per se. We're in a shit division, so why extend ourselves?
Exactly. I mean,
and jumper Cubs especially. But hey, I'll give the Cubs credit. They made the playoffs. What, 5 or 6 years? Is it 6 or 7 years?
6 or 7. Yeah, it's not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. I'll give them credit for that. In the 80s, the Bears made the playoffs. What, 5 straight years? Three NFC Championship games in 5 years. I want to say 2 losses to the San Francisco 49ers. Oh, and by the way, remember, it was bear weather when the Niners came here for the 88 NFC title game. Bear weather. Ooh, bear weather. Yeah, that didn't seem to bother Joe Montana or Jerry Rice too much as they ran the ball up and down the field. Roger Craig.
Yeah, that whole thing is a myth. Maybe it's Bears turf because it's just shitty.
Yeah.
Like people are slipping and sliding all over the place because the turf's getting ripped up in Soldier Field. But it's definitely the cold weather. I understand it, but that again, it's like that idea. Like it's almost like a narrative because it was like that myth with Brett Favre, who can't be beat when the temperature is blankety blank at home at Lambeau. Like no, you're just digging for stats that happen to meet you. Like you're just gonna keep taking the temperature down and get nope, 32 degrees, nope, doesn't work. 31 degrees, nope, doesn't work. 33 up now, 29 degrees. Brett Favre at home has never lost. Like he played 3 games, but
and the funniest thing is, I remember his last game as a Packer. It was all of these settings were perfect for Brett Favre to win because it was, below whatever, like 28 degrees or whatever the temperature was. That was when the Giants. What's that?
Did it Caleb Haney? Was it Haney that hung it on him? No, who?
No, it was Eli Manning.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. It was Eli. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the who was the quarterback when they when he was with the Vikings.
When he was with Minnesota and got knocked out.
Yeah, that was either Haney or Cole, obviously Cuddy. I can't remember if that was your Cuddy got knocked out. I got to see Bears get beaten in person in Denver.
But his last game with the Packers, the Giants went into Lambeau and beat them for the NFC title. That was also the year that the Giants beat the Patriots to prevent the perfect season.
Oh yeah, okay, that one.
Yeah,
I know that was a good one. I was actually on an airplane when they did that. I was on an airplane back from St. Louis for my dad's prostate cancer surgery. I just remember watching it at the airport, and I got on the airplane, and it was the red carpet, which I hope they never ever do again. And then it was like that Super Bowl red carpet thing. And by the time I got on the flight, the game started, and I got home. When I landed, it was over.
Yeah.
So like, oh, great! I missed the greatest Super Bowl ever. Awesome. Yeah. But it's the thing with the Bears is again, you talk about it too. Like there was a moment where we were it was like an expectation to be in the postseason. Now the Bears make it to the postseason. We celebrate. Like, I mean, how many postseasons since 2011, since they went to the NFC title game? 1, 2 in a decade.
And they lucked out. Last year because of COVID.
Right, because of COVID, and what did they extend didn't they extend the playoffs last year for an extra team? Right, they made it in at a 500 team. Yeah, and they're going to be an 8-8 team again this year too, and they're going to say Matt Nagy's never had a losing season. Well,
and Matt Nagy, and one of the things they said in the press conference too in January was Matt Nagy's taken the team to the playoffs 2 out of 3 years.
That's a bogus. That's right. Yeah, the 2 times have been since with Nagy. Yeah, it's true. And the thing is too with him, this is the thing that bothers me the most too, is that Matt Nagy has 100% been riding the coattails of his defense. Whether it's Vic Fangio's defense in 2018 or whatever, whether it's the defense today, you can't throw up that little amount of points and win enough to get into the postseason without a stellar defense. And so, if anything, the real MVP of these teams have always been the defensive side of the football, covering Nagy's ass all the time. Whether, Fangio, he's not a great head coach. I'll say this. He's not doing really well in Denver. But you put that guy as a defensive coordinator, put him back up in the booth, you throw him back up there looking down from God's eye view. He is my favorite defensive coordinator since, he's always owned Aaron Rodgers. Whether he was with the Niners, whether it was the Bears, he's always owned Aaron Rodgers. Even with a serviceable defense, with his first year with John Fox, he made that defense competitive against Rodgers. The Bears, that team had no business hanging with the pack, and he actually did a fine job of even making an unbuilt defense at the time serviceable. So you need those, and there it is. Brandon's with the comment that hurts the worst is 6 playoff appearances this century. So since we've hit the new millennium, and this millennia even we'll go even more excessive. It's only 6 playoff appearances this millennia. But you look at it this way. I mean, something has to happen. And, the one positive and the one thing I kept telling myself, God, it was like so sad. I'm just curled up in a little ball. I want to just suck my thumb and cry. But the one thing I told myself to give me comfort is, Bears fans, one more game against Aaron Rodgers ever again as a Packer.
But with our luck, he'll go to the Vikings.
Oh, God. Oh, that would be terrible. But I think he'll go to the Steelers. But just to finally just go.
He's going to San Francisco.
The Jordan Love era can't come soon enough. The Jordan Love.
Yes.
Oh no! Now they just drafted a first-round quarterback. He's not going anywhere near San Fran. Ooh, I think he's going to Steelers.
That's right. You're right.
He's got to go to Pittsburgh. That's a perfect place for him. There's some weapons. There's a good run game, and there's a coach that'll let him just they'll trust him the way he trusted Big Ben. And as creepy as his top knot is, he's far less rapey than Big Ben. So there's also that. So you always can take that into consideration. But my God, I wanted someone to slap the top knot off of his head on Sunday, and no one did it for me. So I'm pretty sad. But
because he still owns them.
He does. He still owns them. Which it's like it's less value than Dogecoin, that's for sure. But he did. And the funny thing is, he's like, there were people flipping me off. Yeah, there were. The picture I saw, there was like 50 people. I think a 4-year-old kid was flipping you off too, Aaron Rodgers. It's because you're a dick. And ask your family, ask your ex-girlfriends. Everybody agrees. There's a reason why Tom Brady wins and you don't, because people want to play with Tom Brady. You'll notice that he's not bringing in the stars like Tom Brady. Tom Brady goes down to Tampa, everybody joins him. Yeah. You can go to Green Bay. You're a god in Green Bay if you're still nobody goes because nobody likes that guy. He's a dick. And, cool. I can handle that. I sleep better knowing that I hate him.
You know what? I'd take that dick on my team in a heartbeat. Because say what you want. Not any chance I get.
Have you ever seen? What is the movie with Paul Rudd, where he goes to the hippie commune and lives there? And he's like, I'm gonna give him a dog. And he's just in front of the mirror, hysterical. One of the funniest things. I cry watching it every time because he's like, I'm gonna. He's like, he's a nice guy, so he doesn't know how to talk dirty. So he's trying to talk dirty to himself in the mirror to kind of get himself worked up. He's like, she's gonna take that dick. They're going to have them. They're going to
Wanderlust, according to Young Wanderlust.
Yes, Wanderlust. So I'm going to put it in you. Okay. It's just so funny. It's Paul Rudd. Yeah, vintage Paul Rudd, Jennifer Aniston, Justin Theroux. What's his name? Keegan Michael Peele or Michael Keegan Peele. I always say their name right. God dang. There's Peele and Key. Michael Keegan Key, right? Is that it? Michael
Michael
God damn.
Keegan Clark, is it?
No, Keegan Peele. I mean, last name Keeg or Peele.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, he's in it. He's hilarious. He always somehow crashes the car in the water for no reason. I don't know. It just happened. I don't know how it got there, but he's funny. Good movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. But speaking of, adaptivity is a word that I can't apparently say tonight on a we're also Keegan Michael. There it is. And so Keegan Michael Keegan Peele, Keegan Michael P. Oh God, fuck, I don't even know. Anyway, but speaking of adaptivity, now the White Sox season has now come to an end, shorter than, of course, most of us expected. I think, with a 3-1 series loss to Houston, a fantastic home game on a Sunday night, which was memorable for so many different people. A rained game that's rained out, unfortunately, that they had to push.
A certain idiot on this podcast took a red eye to go to.
left an empty hotel room in Vegas. That's still room for the night.
Yes.
And, but so I mean, the White Sox, obviously there were some glaring issues. Houston kind of exposed them for some of the issues that the White Sox have roster wise still. But we've talked about this on the show even, and we've talked about this when we were on the Pins, Wheels, and Ivy together as well last week. Again, my personal opinion, they should have started with Gio and then gone the Rodon game and then Lance Lynn at home. They went, obviously, Lance Lynn, a guy who throws primarily fastballs against a primarily fastball-eating team in a place where he's never won as an opposing pitcher. I think the series started out with kind of a little bit of a gut check and a gut blow because they were already like, I hated this. People are like, well, it's their must-win game, so you don't want to waste Gio in their must. If it's a must-win game for them, go beat their ass in their must-win game and suck the soul from their body. That's the whole point. If it's a must-win game, go beat them up, take it in. That's the game that destroys you. Instead, it was like you're playing to not lose, and boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, they're down 1-0, and then the Gio game doesn't go so well, and then of course you get home, and the comeback was great. They got down 5-1, and they came back, on a nice grand slam from in that game 3 from Larry Legend, and everything looked like the White Sox had an opportunity to maybe get back into this thing, and then Mother Nature said F you. And the night game, right? That was supposed to be a Monday night game, correct? Am I going nuts? So another.
No, it was a Monday 1:00 game.
Oh, it was a Monday 1:00. So the Monday game was a Monday 1:00. Okay, so it didn't alter the time. It just altered the time in between the momentum, which gave Houston a little bit of time to regroup too and kind of get their heads. And it made for great fodder because Houston Astros fans are probably the most hideous people on Twitter right now, and they're just unbearable. And so dealing with a lot of dick noses out there. It was interesting to watch that kind of unfold. But when you saw the White Sox and you saw some of the glaring deficiencies that they have when it came to what Houston does, which is not only do they put the ball in play, but they put the ball in play well with a high slugging percentage. They don't strike out a ton, but they're not just putting soft contact either. They're a team that does eat fastballs, that does not chase. And the White Sox are a team that struck out a ton. There's some weird stats that people are throwing around that are really kind of coincidental. Like the team that hits the most home runs and strikes out the most is like undefeated. It's like weird. But the fact is, home runs, long balls didn't really change the series for Houston. It wasn't the long ball that Houston won with. That was kind of the icing on the cake when they would be up 3 or 4 runs. Someone would then drop a bomb. But a lot of that was just stringing together 4 or 5 hits in a row. And that's something the White Sox still don't have yet. Oh, yep, we're still waiting for that Jordan Miller special trade of Lambert. But they didn't seem to have an offense, at least in this postseason, that can string together 2, 3, 4 hits in a row because of the long ball swing in which they had. Tim Anderson had a fantastic series, did well. I thought Luis Robert had a
fantastic series.
Yeah. Eloy was a no-show. I think that Yaz was rolling over again. All of a sudden, he's rolling in double plays again. I felt like the White Sox hit into like 70 double plays. Like it felt like every time you get a leadoff guy on, someone rolls over. Even Eloy hit like 105 mile an hour exit velocity on a line drive, hard ground ball, but right into the shift. Easy, feed, double play, big chances over, and that killed the White Sox quite a bit. And we talked about the stat today that I was texting you too about the teams that had the most success that are still in the playoffs are teams that put the ball in the air, not on the ground. So it's not just about contact; it's about good contact and timely contact. And so for you, what did you see with the White Sox? Where do you see, if you're like doing an autopsy, do you take and say this was the cause of death, I guess, so to speak, or causes of death? And then where do you see the White Sox going from here? And what changes need to be made, whether it's coaching wise, roster wise, rotation wise, bullpen wise, where are you at? What are the things that you're looking for the White Sox to do after you look at, first off, point out what you think was the deciding factor for the White Sox in losing to Houston in the first place?
Well, offensively, they were outclassed. Defensively, they were outclassed. Managing wise, they were outclassed by Dusty Baker. Think about that statement. Tony La Russa was outmanaged by Dusty Baker. Pitiful, dreadful. There are two giant holes on this roster, second base and right field. And right field's been a known issue for years. You know, and I'm going to go back, and I know I'm beating a dead horse here. I don't care because it still needs to be said. In the free agent market of 2019, the White Sox went after the wrong guy. They had their whale out there. He was out there. All it would cost them was money, and that was Bryce Harper. They needed a left-handed right fielder, power bat. That guy fit the bill for all three. And yet they decided to go after Manny Machado to play shortstop, which they already had a shortstop in Tim Anderson. Granted, we didn't know what Tim Anderson will become at the time, but Harper was the move they needed to make, and they didn't make it. And they're still paying the price for ignoring that right field move in 2019. Second, pitching-wise, enough of the fucking walks. You know, that's something when I was on the Pinwheels and Ivy pre-playoff special, one of the things I harped on was walks. Too many walks. You cannot be walking guys. Absolutely too many walks. Fundamentally, learn how to hold a fucking runner too. The outfielder for, I can't think of the Tucker, stole second on Kopech and then stole third on Kopech. I don't even think Kopech looked at him, to be honest with you. You can't do that. You know, it wasn't, that sequence was not on Yasmani Grandal, as some people said. It was on Kopech, because Kopech didn't even look at him. Kopech just ignored him. He was halfway to second and third by the time that Grandal caught the ball. So there was no chance that he was going to be able to throw him out. No chance. You know, to your point about hitting, the Sox, one of the things I think that was exposed is if you can get them down, they start swinging for the fences. They start trying to hit the proverbial five-run home run, regardless of how many men are on base. So the Astros were relentless. They have a relentless offense, and they have less holes than the White Sox. Even Maldonado, who you would consider a hole based on what his numbers were, got some hits during this series. One big one in particular. But you have holes at second base and right field. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, they should have never traded Madrigal for Kimbrel. It was the right move at the time. It doesn't matter because Madrigal was not helping this team this year. Deal with it. Frankly, I don't have a problem with them trading Madrigal. This is a guy who we were told was a high baseball IQ guy, was, you know, a Gold Glove caliber second baseman. Frankly, I didn't see either one of that from him. He looked pretty dumb out on the field and running the bases at times, to be completely honest with you. Frankly, he looked dumb. Plus, I think he might be injury prone because he slides into second and screws up his shoulder, and then he screws up his leg, you know, doing something else. I can't remember how he screwed up his leg. But all that time, they went and made the moves they needed to make, and getting Tepera, which actually worked out very well, even though he got off to a rocky start to begin with. Getting Cesar Hernandez, it made sense to get him based on the injury, but frankly, I don't see them keeping Hernandez. And then getting Kimbrel. Again, I have no problem with the Kimbrel move. It didn't work out. I think part of the reason why is because he was out of position, and this is something that K-Fitz has said before. Kimbrel is a of habit, and when you change that habit and change the environment, change the surroundings, change his routine, which, by the way, we talked about routines quite a few episodes ago. When you change that routine, he struggles to adjust. There's one other thing I urge everybody to remember about Kimbrel and about Keuchel. 2021 was the first full season they pitched since 2018. They did not pitch full seasons in 2019 because they both had qualifying offers on them. So they did not sign till after the draft in 2019. I want to say they both signed early July in 2019. And of course, we know what happened in 2020. So they haven't built their arms up fully since 2018. Now, will that factor into next year? Don't know. You would hope that they would have, a little more strength in their arm and give them a little more length, but you never know. They might have hit their career wall, so to speak. And that's very possible. It happens to every player. You don't know when it's going to happen, but it happens. Some it happens when they're 25, others it happens when they're 47, like Nolan Ryan. So it happens to all of them. And they'll tell you it happens to everyone. And Yumper, fuck Javi Baez. That's the last thing you need in this club.
I will say this, though, as someone that's got
Jack, great point about Rodon, too. Yes.
Surgery.
He's another one who had very few winnings the last few years.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is with Kimbrel, though, and you said this, too, he is a creature of habit, but I'm not even, again, it's not an excuse, but I can say this. He wasn't good for the Cubs early on until he got comfortable. Like it's kind of like I call it the John Lester, syndrome. John Lester, his first year with the Cubs was horrible because you know what?
Kimbrel was not good.
No, and the lateness of the contract, and when he signed he signed late into the season, new environment. That guy took a little bit of time to get to know his environment, his routine, and he wasn't great until he finally got comfortable. And I think that in this case too, I think that if he's willing to take that 8th inning role, I think it would be. I mean, I know you don't pay an 8th inning guy, that much money, whatever it is, $18 million or whatever he's got, but honestly, you let the guy get comfortable and you don't trade him. You have an 8th and 9th inning guys that are going to be shut down. And you have guys that can go and lock it down for good in the 7th and 8th inning or the 8th and 9th inning or whatever. I think next year, if he were to come back and play for the Sox, which I don't think is going to happen, I think they're going to take that, he's going to, the option is, be option, and then he's going to get traded or whatever.
Paging Dave Dombrowski.
Right. So you're gonna see that kind of unfold. But if he were to come back and pitch for the White Sox, I think you'd see him much better because he'd be coming in with a clean season. He's not being uprooted. He's not leaving, the ballpark that he goes in every day and has gone in every day the same way every day. Creatures of habit. Even if it is, I know it's just across town, but it changes. It's a whole different world. It really is for these guys to have different procedures, different clubhouse attendance, different, where do you sit? Where do you sleep? How do you, all that stuff does play. And it took him a while to catch up. But hey, I'm going to throw this out there. This is my proposal. And I see Jack threw out a little, or a Yumper threw out a little Dodgers thing. It does make sense.
And I want to talk about that after your proposal because I have a thought about the Dodgers too.
Kimbrel was a Dodger. Him and KB were Dodgers until the Max Scherzer Trey Turner trade. Until that happened, they were about to pull the trigger on a Cubs trade with the Dodgers that was going to send both KB and Kimbrel to the Dodgers. It was basically done. And so that's the funny part too when I hear people like, "Oh, Jed Hoyer is so nice for letting him. He found a team to send Kimbrel to so that Kimbrel would be happy and stay with it." No, he was sending him to the West Coast. He tried to send him down to Tampa too. He wasn't trying to find him. It just happened to work out that way. It was a luck. But Kimbrel, for me, if you're going to trade Kimbrel, this is what you do because I know the Phillies love him. Trade him for the Phillies for Bryson Stott, one of their hot new younger middle infielders that is coming up. He was I think their player of the year, one of their minor league players of the year at the level he was at. I think he's at AA now. He is fantastic. He's a switch hitter. He can play both second, short, third, outfield, everywhere. He is one of those Vegas boys that I've gotten to see since he was 14 years old. He is going to be a stud in the league, and I know they love him, but I also know that the Phillies absolutely adore Kimbrel and really try to get Kimbrel this past, that when all things were going down before. So I think that if the White Sox really want to do it, they can send Kimbrel for Stotts. If you can get Bryson Stotts from the Phillies, you have a successful Kimbrel trade. That is like trading Nick Madrigal for Bryson Stott because, again, also less expensive contract. Phillies, they can take on some payroll there, and they would love to. But I know that something like that would be an easy way to steal Bryson from them, and I think Bryson would be a fantastic. He was a steal in the draft for the Phillies. He fell way too far than he should have. He was far superior than more than a few guys that went ahead of him. Not Andrew Vaughn though. Andrew Vaughn was bad, but same draft, and he is a fantastic option. And the White Sox need a second baseman. Let's be honest. I know Caesar. People. He got on base in the post. You want Bryson Stott. You want that guy. You want if you could peel him away. go for it because god dang, that guy hits. And he plays defense.
Yeah, and you had mentioned that a few days ago to me, and I find it intriguing. And because I've also read some, another name that I think Philadelphia media, to be honest with you, has thrown out is Mickey Moniak as a reclamation project, a change of scenery type of guy. For those who don't know, Mickey Moniak was the number one draft pick by the overall number one draft pick by the Phillies. I want to say like 14 or 15, somewhere around there. And he just hasn't really, maybe 16 or 17. He just really hasn't worked out in Philadelphia. So they're saying maybe consider him as a change of scenery guy. And don't forget, Dave Dombrowski and Craig Kimbrell have a relationship already from their time in Boston together. Dombrowski knows Kimbrell. So that helps smooth things as well in understanding that. Now, Yumper made the comment about Kimbrell makes sense for the Dodgers. Absolutely agree. And I had posted on Twitter a few days ago, Kimbrell for Gavin Lux. And which would also solve the second base dilemma if they could pry Gavin Lux away. But in order to pry Gavin
really
Lux,
what's that? He's been pretty decent for them in this postseason.
Yes,
he's had a couple impactful moments, but
yes.
I know they love him. That's a hard one to pry, though. I know the Dodgers. Now Pollock would be easy to get because they are not happy with Pollock right now.
No, and I would not touch Pollock, to be honest with you, because I think the guy, he's a good player, but he's so injury prone. He always finds a way, and it's not like it's simple. It's like these weird, unique injuries. You're like, what? You mean he might lose his arm because it got infected? What? Stuff like that. But I would try.
Okay.
Yeah. Because what I would, and this goes to your question about what would you do for 2022? I would try and re-sign Tepera, but I think Tepera is going to have a very, very robust market. And of course, let me preface all of this and saying that we don't know what's going to happen with the CBA. So if you're expecting a very active trade market, don't hold your breath until all of that is resolved. The winter meetings may not even happen, for God's sakes, because the winter meetings are scheduled after the CBA expires. And if there's no CBA, the winter meetings probably become negotiation sessions between the players' union and, MLB. So I don't see any real moves happening until, and like they talked about exercising the option on Craig Kimbrell. I think they have to do that. What is it? 14 days after the World Series ends.
Yeah, right, correct.
Yeah, so
pretty fast after that.
Yeah, so basically you're not going to hit December 1st. So you're talking about by November 15th, you're gonna know who's staying, who's going, as far as options being picked up and things of that nature. You'll know all that before the CBA expires.
Right. And it could be worse. The White Sox could, maybe DFA and non-tender somebody to get zero back from them, and then them hit a game-deciding grand slam in the game 3 of the ALCS, like Kyle Schwarber has tonight. Sorry.
Yes.
He had another grand. So Kyle Schwarber is 100% the darling of this postseason right now, and the White Sox can't make mistakes like that. You cannot undervalue talent or overvalue talent. The fact is the Cubs are still, they're still hogtied with the Jason Hayward contract, and that has played a huge role. But you also have a shit ass owner that's a turd, so that also makes it a little more difficult as well to do anything when that guy does. But with the White Sox, I can see, if Jerry, who was I talking to? I was talking to a Dodger fan yesterday about this. If Jerry Reinsdorf somehow magically, I don't know, maybe someone like maybe we call Leonardo DiCaprio, Christopher Nolan, Tom Hardy, and we have them do an inception and go plant the idea in his head, right? And we get in there and inceptionize, Jerry Reinsdorf and somehow convince him to spend $200 million for one season on one roster. The White Sox would be unbeatable. He's going to spend $160 million though, and try and figure out ways to put glue where you need maybe an actual new object. And so in this case, if Jerry just somehow can just go, fuck it, let's just spend this year. See what happens. And spends. If he spends 180, they're going to be hard to beat. But if he does
a Florida Marlins type of approach to spending, 1 year contracts.
Yeah, just for this year, just for the 1 year. Bring in a bunch of people that want to win, and they see the writing on the wall. Yeah. If you want to win and you're a free agent, you're going to look at the White Sox above most teams in baseball because they have a couple major needs, especially if you're a right fielder, a reliever, a second baseman, or a starter even. I mean, it's not super set in stone. I mean, Keuchel has shown that that's an opening, but that's a big thing the White Sox have to look at is if you can spend, my God, go out and go get. I mean, God, if you could get what's his name, Corey Seager to play second base for you.
Oh yeah, Trevor Story,
or
Corey Seager,
Bellinger in the outfield, or Gallo, or God,
or
there's so many.
Castellanos, or because Castellanos. Well, if it was a normal year, I see Castellanos opting out. He may not opt out because of the uncertainty of the CBA.
Right, because you're guaranteed what you got. That's like what we talked about that with Shreve's contract with the Pirates. Because they service time manipulated him this year, his contract is still on the books for next year. So he doesn't have to worry about God, am I going to have to try and find a contract with another team after the CBA? He's actually I'm going to go sleep. He's in Florida or wherever he went. He went on vacation. He's happy. He's not stressed. It's the same thing when you see some of these guys. You got a lot of guys coming down the line. And I'll tell you, I mean, the White Sox aren't dead in the water. If they wanted to go out there and spend some money and sign, a certain former Cub who can play 85 positions on the diamond, as well as give you a clean, a good PR image guy too that works really well in the clubhouse, that gets along with everybody. You got a Chris Bryant on the market too.
Would that person be agreeable to that?
I think Chicago itself would lend. Again, people keep throwing out Phillies. Again, if he's going to a cold weather team, it's going to be the Cubs, or maybe it'll just be Chicago. But he's not going to openly. I personally think it's going to be the Dodgers with him. But the Giants. I think it's the Giants. But they're throwing out that shade, and a lot of people think, well, maybe they're not signing up. It's their GM. They're just throwing that out there. It's negotiation in the press. We're going to pay for value. We're not going to overpay. Blah, 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 blah. Everyone's kind of playing that game, and that's fine. White Sox have to play that game too. There's going to be some very good middle infielders on the market, and I know you. I would laugh my ass off, but Javi Baez is an option. He's a better defensive second baseman than he is a shortstop. As far as analytics.
But again, would his ego allow him to be a second baseman? The only situation I see his ego allowing him to be a second baseman, is with his buddy with the Mets, and I think he burned that bridge. To be honest with you, I think
the
Mets are stuck with Lindor.
Yeah, I think Javi goes back to the Mets, though. I think the owner loves Javi. I get the impression based on some of the cryptic tweets that he throws out there that he's a big fan. I don't think that the middle finger or the thumbs down middle finger. I keep calling it a middle finger, even though it was a thumbs down, but it's a middle finger to fans. You put Javi again. I don't know. I hear people like Pete. Abreu would throw him under. Put his under his arm, and and that's a flashy enough clubhouse where the Javi stuff would play. But here's the stuff that wouldn't play: showing up late, not being prepared for games, not getting loose, eating in the tunnel during games when you should be focusing on what's going on in the ball game. Things like that aren't going to go over so well in a winning clubhouse. That shit goes over well in a loser clubhouse, which is why the Cubs have had a loser clubhouse. And it was fostered in there. And the White Sox don't have that. They have a good clubhouse. And I think that's also something that you need to look into when you make these decisions. Is this going to be a fit? Castellanos, he'll fit in any clubhouse. Dude's a cool guy. He's just fun, right? He'll have a good time. He'll fit in.
No problem.
Win. Yeah, he wants to win. His defense is terrible. That's fine. You guys will figure out something around him. You got Eloy on left, him and right. Poor Luis Roberts going to be like, God dang it, I hate my life, but that's fine. He'll take care of it.
Luis Robert will be winning 2 Gold Gloves.
Yeah, and you get yourself a good second baseman, and again, you get yourself a continued. That bullpen looks good already on paper. It's just a matter of continued development. And there are some guys, some smaller role player guys for roster depth that are coming up the pipeline that you guys have as well. That'll do well as a couple guys off the bench, but they're not starters. If you have to rely on them, you're in trouble, kind of guys. But if you can have them come in certain spots, they're good to have on your bench for your depth. Like Sheets is a great, that Sheets and I've seen a lot of people throwing around, trading
Sheets and Vaughn in right field. Yeah. What do you call it? God, I can't think of it now. Where they alternate based on platoon. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think I see this too. And I'm going to throw this out there. Why wouldn't the White Sox take a long look at Kyle Schwarber?
Why not?
Why wouldn't
Honestly,
they?
why?
I mean,
He'd be the perfect DH.
can play in the outfield. He's played first base yesterday or 2 days ago. He actually had a really nice
first base today too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's playing first base a ton. He can catch. People forget that he was a catcher all the way through college. He was drafted as a catcher technically, and they've adjusted him. But he's also a good clubhouse guy, a guy that really shows up to work every day. Guys that he's a guy that they need to take a long look at, and he's worth paying a little bit. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is.
He also addresses their one thing that they've needed for years that they've tried over and over again and failed miserably at, the power left-handed bat.
Yep. Mm-hmm. The Schwarbino would fit that gap. And the Cubs, the biggest mistake the Cubs made, I advocated for this. He had a really good season. I think it was at the tail end of 2019. And they had him at a high value, and they didn't trade him. At that point, if you didn't trade him at high value, you had to intend on keeping him. And instead, they didn't trade him with high value. They hung on to him, and then they just non-tendered him. Like, they got nothing for him. So that was a big mistake on the Cubs' part, obviously, for not at least striking while the iron's hot. Now, at this point, it's a totally different situation where he's a free agent guy coming in. I would love to see Scott and Kyle Schwarber in blackout uniforms. Forget it. He would look like a penguin. It would be awesome. I would love to see that. And he would pepper the 108 with pissers all the time. The 108 would be the Schwarber section because dudes would be getting peppered with balls.
Well, he is 108 thick,
Almost as much. Never mind. I almost made another balls joke. Sorry. I just couldn't figure out who in the chat I could insult, and I just decided that
Jack.
No, he's the holy calfed one, so he's fine. His calves now have a dairy farm. So great. So
yes, that is true. But to me, there's two glaring holes: right field and second base, that need to be addressed. You can always strengthen the bullpen. Because bullpens are so fickle from year to year. One year they could be lights out, the next year they could be absolute dog crap. You can always strengthen a bullpen, and there's no such thing as too much pitching.
Nope.
And to your point about overvaluing prospects and everything else, one team has a history of overhyping prospects they want to get rid of. The Atlanta Braves used to do it for years. They would tell you, oh, this Denny Nagel guy, he's great. Oh, this guy, he's awesome. He's going to be a superstar. Yet you had guys like Chipper Jones who you never heard them say a word about. You never heard them talk about Glavine. You never heard them talk about Chipper, Javi Lopez, Smoltz. You never heard them say a word about any of these guys. Yet you always heard about the Denny Nagels of the world, the Ryan Kleskos. Oh, this guy's going to be a stud. So they could trade him high and milk you for whatever they could get out of it because they knew he sucked.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. Yeah, Yumper said Tampa Bay does it. I actually had I wasn't really super aware of that until Alex Rude actually pointed me in that direction.
Yep.
And the fact that they deal guys that Snell's been better this year, but they do. They drop these guys, and you're like, God, this guy what a steal for the other team, and then they're like dog shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But you look at what the Braves do too, which brings me to another possible potential White Sox player that could materialize depending on how the contract situation works out. A guy that took less with the Cubs, but was offered more by the White Sox, who is tearing it up right now for the Braves. Yeah, it's Jocktober. And there's another left-handed, Zoe would love this because Zoe has been wanting him for like years. Southside Zoe. But you know what? That's another guy to take a look at. He just didn't get hot with the Cubs, and he's a guy that he streaks. He's a streaky guy. And so he was streaky. He was hot in spring training, and it took him 3 months to get back to that. But by the time he got back to that, he was already somewhere else. And by the time he was really doing it, he right now he's at one of those high water marks. And boy, he's exciting to watch when he's at that high water, when he's seeing it and he's playing well. So that's another guy to look at. But again, you don't want too many of the same hitters in your lineup.
Yes.
And
that's
a lot of
the Cubs ran into.
Correct. And you don't want that. That's one of the reasons why I love Nick Madrigal in that lineup is you didn't have all three outcomes. You had somebody that was a different beast. You need to have some different beasts peppered in that lineup.
Do you know what lineup suffered from that the most, in my opinion? The New York Yankees, until they added Gallo and Rizzo. Because when that lineup hit, they mauled teams. But if they weren't hitting, they looked dead. Because you had the same guy again and again and again in that lineup. And DJ LeMahieu was supposed to be, the solution to that, but he fell on his face this year after he got the big contract. I mean, Judge and Stanton are basically the same hitter when they're healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got, again, Rizzo. Well, Rizzo now will be also on the free agent market, so we'll see that.
I think Rizzo stays with the Yankees.
You think so? Would it be weird if like all three of those guys end up staying with the teams they got traded to? That would be weird for me, but that would be kind of interesting. I know that just again, I think about KB hitting at Dodger Stadium, and all I can think about is how many he would hit. He would actually have career highs just in a lineup like that too. What worked out well with him. By the way, he had 8 postseason hits. He was on base like 12 times in the postseason. He would have been if they would have won that series. He probably would have been at least co-MVP of that series. He made himself some extra money by his postseason performance there because his big knock on him in Chicago was, is he getting it done in the postseason? Well, guess what? The fact that nobody else was getting it done in that lineup around him made it very hard for him to also get it done being around them. And he was in a lineup that had a perfect insulation for him, and it paid off because the lineups were written well. And even with Brandon Belt out, that Giants-Dodgers series was something else. I tell you what, if this game, we had to watch only 5 games. It should have been a 7-game series, man, because that was just great baseball to watch. And there goes Derrick Henry again. Oh, my God. I love him on my fantasy.
Well, I have to say one thing. There's one thing I wish the White Sox would do, and it will never happen because it would violate basically every rule of Jerry Reinsdorf business. Take the contract you currently have in place with Tim Anderson, tear it up, and give him a long-term deal.
Yeah.
That guy is the heart and soul. Abreu's the captain, but Tim Anderson's the motor. He's the heart and soul of that team.
He's the straw that stirs the drink, like we've said before.
Yes, he is. Yes. I wish they would take that contract. And even if they said, you know what, we're going to ride this contract out, but we're going to add 7 more years on the back end at 20 per, just as an example to throw out numbers. Do something like that, anything like that. Because I think not only would it be a hit with the fans, I think it would be a hit with the players too. And I think it would also be a good sign for free agents like, hey, you do a good job. They reward you.
Optics.
But and the best part about it, well, I shouldn't say the best part because that sounds very hard. What I'm going to say sounds very mean saying the best part. But the thing is, Jerry's not going to pay that whole contract. He's just not.
Mm-hmm.
This team is going to be sold soon.
Yep. It may be sold sooner than the Cubs. Maybe sold after the guy. I don't know. The Cubs may be sold sooner when Papa Ricketts calls in his markers. But, we look at that too. And so, we talk about the White Sox spending some money. I guess we'll pivot a little bit here. Two, we've talked about this too. The guy was, someone posted today, I think it was Baseball Savant, maybe? No, who was it? Doggone it. Hold on. I actually took a picture of it, screenshotted it. What was this? Gosh darn it. I was looking at the Cubs roster for 2022. Speaking of spending. Right now, their Cubs payroll is sitting at roughly $40 million, with 25 of that being Jason Hayward. I obviously got some arbitration eligible guys, so there's that'll go up. But the Cubs are actually should right now, if they didn't make a single move, they're going to be sitting at like maybe $55 million, $60 million at a payroll next year, which obviously is not going to be acceptable. But then I looked at the projected roster currently without any signing. Yeah, Rafael, this is your starting lineup. Rafael Ortega, Frank Schwindel, Wilson Contreras, Ian Happ, Patrick Wisdom, Nico Horner, Jason Hayward, Nick Madrigal. Basically the same lineup that was the worst lineup in baseball, or one of the worst lineups in baseball for the last 2 months of the season. That's where they're at.
What are you talking about? Wisdom and Schwindel should get $200 million contracts each.
Wisdom is now exposed. He is now Bodie. Ian Happ is.
Who else is he? Who else is Wisdom? Who else is Wisdom?
No. What did you? What's his name?
Daniel
Beckham.
Palka.
Palka, that's right, Palka, not Beckham. And so then you look at your bench roles. You've got P.J. Higgins, Sergio Alcantara, David Bodie, Michael Hermosillo, and Trace Thompson. Those are your bench players. And then you have your starting rotation. Kyle Hendricks as the ace. Adbert Alzolay is your number 2. Nerd games, nerd science teacher Alec Mills is your 3. Porno name Justin Steele is your 4, who's still learning how to be a starter. And then Keegan Thompson is your 5th. That is not going to cut it. Your bullpen is Rowanwick, here, Adam Morgan, Scott Efros, who? What the? Brad Week and Manuel Rodriguez. That is your Rex Brothers. Oh God, Rex Brothers.
Hey, by the way, Justin Steele, that sounds like a code name for My Sock Summer.
And Adrian Sampson. I'm sorry, but if that's your team going in, obviously they've got to spend something. You see, I would, maybe you go after a Corey Seager. Maybe I just don't. I don't. I mean, the Cubs have to spend on pitching. The starting rotation this year was so bad, and it just lacked so much depth. Especially, I mean, they got rid of you and I love Kyle Hendricks to death, but I really don't believe that Kyle Hendricks should be a number 1. I just don't feel he's an ace. I feel like he's a great number 2. He's great to have, but the Cubs need to go out and get somebody. But yeah, and Yupper says it. Prepare myself for the bargain bin shopping, and that's true, 100%. I am under the impression that the Cubs are this year going to do one more minor league contract, pray these guys pan out, and then trade deadline them one more season. Because why would you go out and if you're not going to go for it? Why are you going to waste a year of a contract with a big name player if you're not going for it?
The Cubs have perfect cover. They have absolutely perfect cover to do that, and that is the CBA. Well, we didn't know what to do because we didn't know if there was going to be a CBA, so we had to sit and wait. Yep. Because, once there's a resolution to the CBA, whether that's December, March, May, and I hate to tell this to people, but I've talked to a couple people around baseball, and owners have already made contingency plans for not starting the season on time. So it sounds like they might be digging in. But one thing I think was a positive when it comes to the CBA, and Jack mentioned this earlier in the chat, is the minor leaguers now having their housing provided to them by the teams.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
That is a positive step in the right direction for the CBA. It's one positive step. There need to be a lot more. And that includes
salary floors, I think, should be something they should really visit.
And I have to talk about salary floors for a second, because this is one thing I absolutely agreed with George Steinbrenner on, which is a hard statement to make. Steinbrenner always said he had no problem paying a tax, a luxury tax, for lack of a better way to put it, as long as that money was used towards the product on the field and not put in the pocket of the owner. Because you had guys like the idiot who owned the Marlins before the Jeter group took over, who basically was pocketing everything. He pocketed all the money for that stadium. As soon as that contract was out, as soon as that clause about the stadium where he couldn't sell the team for 5 years or whatever it was, the day after that clause expired, the team was on the market. Everyone and their mother knew he was going to do that. You had these owners, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, who were pocketing the money. It was free money to them. And that's what Steinbrenner was going off about all those years. He's like, why should I earn this money and give it to someone else to spend? Or someone else to pocket as profit?
Dear goodness, Derrick Henry just scored another touchdown. Yeah. And that's, again, this CBA is going to have to address a lot of that stuff. And again, the shenanigans, service time stuff, there's, and that should be something that's really interesting to watch as it kind of gets closer. I think that we saw with the COVID negotiations that there's not a great deal of harmony between the two sides. Yes. But I do like the fact that they're going to be taking care of minor leaguers. That's, I mean, dear God, Wally made a funny joke that the budget next year is screwed for the Cubs because they're paying for housing for minor leaguers. Yeah, that's, the last thing in the world that Papa
Well, they have enough real estate by Wrigley Field for the minor leaguers.
I know, right? And this is something that's long past due. And these minor leaguers go through hell. Like, it's horrible. It's not a fun life. No. There's moments, obviously, because the game is the game. It's beautiful. And road trips are fun sometimes. And there are nights where you're like, this is great. But all in all, 4 guys living in one place, living on pizza and ramen noodles is not commensurate with a successful development program, let alone taking care of the hands that very well may take care of you. And that the fact that they're going to address that, and they have addressed it, or they are addressing it, that's a big step in the right direction. I think the optics have shown it's better for the image of the league to take care of your farm. Your bushes need to be trimmed. Like, you got to take care of your bush. Take care of your bush, guys. God, the bushes need to be taken care of. Sorry. And that's where I think we're looking at. And so that's a good thing. I think it's a positive. And I think, though, that when we get to this collective bargaining agreement negotiation, we're going to see a lot of battles going on. And a lot of battles, hopefully the closer they get to finalizing that CBA, we can call that last little bit of negotiation the last duel.
Ooh, well, I got one more thing to say about the CBA. Where the hardest part of the negotiation will happen, where it will be most contentious, is the owners will agree to things, but they'll want to make it retroactive, or they'll want to make it active in like 23 or 24, where the players are going to say, no, it takes effect now, and everyone currently in falls under this new rule, because it'll be so hard for teams to adjust accordingly for new rules on the fly versus being able to plan it out for a year or two down the road. I see that being where the ultimate battle lies.
Okay.
And to me, that is the last duel.
Okay. The last duel. Well, speaking of the last duel, as we kind of pivot, as we pivot over to a little bit of entertainment talk, you and I both got a chance to go see a couple of the same movies this week, which is really rare. We haven't been able to get a chance to see a bunch of the same movies together, but we had a little bit of free time this week, both of us separately in different states, and you got a chance to go see them as well. Excuse me. You got to see them as well. I got to see them. We're talking obviously about the newest Ridley Scott film, which is very similar to, like, if you've ever seen like Kingdom of Heaven, Gladiator, some of those styles really fills well. Last Duel is based on a true story, actually, about a knight named Jean de Carouge, who challenges his friend and a fellow squire, Jacques Legris, to a duel because after, of course, his wife, Marguerite, she accuses Legris of raping her. The film itself, it's a true story. It's actually about the last duel. These are all real people. And it actually, Ben Affleck even stars in it. Matt Damon plays Jean de Carouge. So you got Matt Damon, Ben Affleck with a bleach blonde dye. It's really funny playing the kind of the.
I think Ben Affleck basically played his own life in that movie.
Yeah, he's right. He's always all the hookers. But that's the first one. And of course, No Time to Die is the other one that came out. The new James Bond movie, which I thought it was funny. No Time to Die was almost 3 hours long. Plenty of time to die, guys. Plenty of time to die. It's 3 hours long. Plenty of time. But that was good. And then, of course, and he hasn't got a chance. He hasn't got a chance to watch it yet. But I did bury myself into the cult popular Netflix show, The Squid Game, which is holy smokes awesome. And so let's go ahead and talk first. I mean, the last duel itself. If you've seen Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven with that starred, I want to say, who was in that one? That was
Christian Bale.
Will Turner. Gosh, Orlando Bloom,
Yes.
Liam Neeson.
Yes.
I believe what's his the voice of Scar. What's his name? Jeremy Irons.
Jack.
Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, it's too soon for that, Jack.
Yeah, right. And so if you've seen Kingdom of Heaven, I thought it was a fantastic film. But Gladiator, Ridley Scott produced some very fantastic film, and it's a Ridley Scott film. Same Ridley Scott who gave us Alien, and he is, Blade Runner and Thelma and Louise, and when you look at some of the stuff that he's done, whether it's Blade Runner, Alien, Legend, little Tom Cruise action right there, weird, creepy movie. Thelma and Louise, some Brad Pitt's debut, Gladiator, Hannibal, which was really good. Black Hawk Down was really good. Matchstick Men was actually an underrated movie about a guy with a tick who's a con man. Kingdom of Heaven, American Gangster, The Last Duel obviously is one. He did the Robin Hood one, I think, with Kevin. Was it Costner or no? Was that
No, that was the one with Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Prometheus, which was good. I thought The Martian, which was awesome, fantastic. Even Exodus: Gods and Kings was good. All the Money in the World, Alien Covenant. I mean, he's done some fantastic films. So The Last Duel is his new one. He's got House of Gucci coming out this Christmas. Another one with
Yes.
Lady Gaga,
Leto, and Al Pacino,
Jeremy Irons.
Yes.
And so they're all in that. So he put this film together. So I mean, I enjoyed it, but before I talk about what I felt about it, what did you think about it? What did you like about it? Did you like it, hate it? Let's go there, and then we'll jump to 007 because there's no time.
I thought it was okay, just okay. I thought Ben Affleck didn't have any kind of stretch at all in playing the role he played, because I just picture that being what he was doing.
Got to correct you, Wally. Tom Cruise's first movie was not Legend.
That is correct. Outsiders?
He was in The Outsiders. Yeah, he was in The Outsiders.
Yeah. Well, wasn't he in
boy.
one of those? Wasn't he in one of those teen movies like Losing It or something like that?
No, he was in he was in what's it called?
Risky Business, obviously.
Risky Business, yeah.
Yeah.
But let's see. That's a good chance. Check out the old filmography.
Yes, Black Rain is with Michael Douglas. Yes.
Yes, Michael. That was a good one too. His first film was Endless Love. My endless love. Oh, happy want to do the old smoochy woochy kissy wissy. I want. Oh, sorry, that's a wrong, different song, but same movie.
Yes.
Taps, and then Outsiders was his third one. So
Okay,
Legend was his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th film. In fact, it's the film right before Top Gun.
Yeah, because it was All the Right Moves, Risky Business.
Mm-hmm. You've got Taps.
Taps, yeah.
The military one with Timothy Hutton and Sean Penn.
Yes.
And I think Hutton got nominated for an Oscar for that, or a Golden Globe. Something. That was a good one.
No, Hutton got nominated for Ordinary People, I thought.
He got nominated for a Golden Globe for Taps. I see this.
Okay.
And Harold Becker from the screen. But Losing It, yeah, that's that. Losing It's the one you were talking about.
Yes.
But they go to Mexico to lose their virginity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But I thought the movie was okay. I know this sounds incredibly stupid, but I was like wildly distracted by like the fake scars put on Matt Damon's cheek. I just couldn't go, dude, that looks fucked up.
His mullet was pretty bad too. I mean, he looked like he seriously could throw a red MAGA hat on and just go rally against the vaccine at any moment. But yeah, and Ben Affleck both have horrible hair in that movie.
Yes,
whereas Adam Brody his hair is just awesome. But
Adam Driver had the same hair he had in the Star Wars movies too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He basically was playing. He's playing the same character from the Star Wars movies to this movie.
This one he was. I love, and this is the thing about the film. So if you haven't seen the film yet, it's basically tells the story of the rape accusation, but it tells the story from all three different viewpoints. The first viewpoint is Jean de Carouge, Matt Damon's character tells the story, and Carouge tells the story of his story. He's a hero. He's in love with her. It's romantic. Everything is so good. And then you get Legree's story, which is different. He's a dope. And the woman, his wife comes on to him, and it's like a romance, and it has there's a mutual attraction there. And then you tell her story, which all the men are stupid, and she's it basically tells it from her perspective of that whole situation as well. And then of course, then it culminates in all three of their stories to the duel. And the duel itself, there's no other, you can't manipulate the story of the duel. The duel is the duel. So all of these three stories, and it's so interesting to see how in each narrative, and I tell this with my students all the time, when you have a narrator that's involved in a story, they are unreliable. If you watch Wolf of Wall Street, right, how he tells the story about how he got back safely after he got hit with the Quaalude while he was at the country club. Yeah. He drove back, didn't hit anything. And it's funny because, of course, the narrator is going to tell the story in a manner that makes them look better, makes them look like a good person. That it's their they're trying to control their image, but in the end, their story and the truth are two completely different things. And in this case, you have three different narrators. All three obviously care about their own image in the midst of that story. Although I thought Adam Driver's story was a little bit less. It didn't have as good or as positive.
He did not come across as positive.
Even in his, it's kind of a rape.
Yeah,
his story. And so it's what a catch. But I love the narrative part, the unreliable narrator, three narratives coming together, and then it's of course settled in front of God and people with the sword and the muscle, and that's how you sell. That's how God determines it, through strength and power and muscle and swords, not through obviously being the right thing to do or anything like that. It's always settled via the sword. So I thought that was really cool. But
yes, the duel itself was awesome, especially the kill scene.
Mm-hmm. The kill scene. Oh God, the sound. The sound of the teeth. Sorry, the teeth, like the teeth on a blade. I'll just put it that way.
The gurgle.
Oh, yeah. That was oh, yeah. But that was about 3 hours and 45 minutes. And I saw that. Girlfriend had something to do in the evenings or in the afternoon. So I'm like, I went to like a 3:00 show, and I'm like, I popped in. I've got, like you said, I got about a giant tub of popcorn, a giant Diet Coke, got in the recliner seats, got myself just comfortable enough where I wouldn't be comfortable enough to fall asleep because it was after a day of teaching, but enough to be comfortable and watch that one. So that was a good one. And then we went and, then we both went and saw 007. 007, No Time to Die, also 2 hours and 45 minutes. But the last Daniel Craig installment of the James Bond series. So that one was a good. Yumper says, yeah, that'll keep me awake. Sure, yeah. I put that little sprinkle a little crack on him. A little crack on him. Get the fuck out of here. So the 007, No Time to Die. It's the final Daniel Craig, and so I saw it again another afternoon after school, after another 2 hour 45-minute whatever. But what did you think? What were your thoughts on this one and how it kind of played out? What are your thoughts for the future?
Well, for the future, there's one. It's obvious in the movie they were trying to lay out who the next 007 is, which I have a problem with because 007 is a specific person. Now, if it's a paradox because you can say, oh, here's the new 007, but to me, and it doesn't work. I'm not going to give away why it doesn't work, but it doesn't work. And there's a very specific reason why. And to me, that should be like 008, 009, somebody like that. So that they are their own person. That's what I think they should do. But obviously, it's hard for them to do that because you have so much baked into the James Bond name, the 007 name, that you want to use that to keep the franchise going. But to me, I don't think it'll work how they set up who the new 007 is.
So you think they're actually going to continue this? I think that this is the last. They're blowing it up. It's over. It's starting over. No, if you read the credits, it actually says James Bond will return again, meaning it's the new. We'll reboot the whole series. So I don't think the 007 agent in this, they do have another 007 because he's retired. Blah blah blah. That's not going to be a film. They're not going to like make 007.
I don't know about that. I could see them trying to expand that out.
But it's James Bond, though. Like, James Bond is the character. Now,
right.
But
that's why I'm saying, like, how they talked about, I'll use some names from the past. Idris Elba playing 007. Sharon Stone playing 007. To me, and this is not me being sexist, 007 is a misogynistic male. Sharon Stone would not, well, she might work in that role, but other females would not work in that role. That's why I think they need to create a whole new, like 008, 009, and dedicate that person, build up their backstory and everything else so that it's a standalone character by itself.
See, but I think that the Bond films are James Bond. They're not 007. Yes. 007 just, that's like saying Agent K, Agent J, Agent, in Men in Black. Yeah. You're just going to get him if you're gone, or it's like a Percival in Kingsman. Like, it's just
what was the new agent? What was the new agent's designation in the movie? If you remember, it was 007.
It's 007, but they have how many agents do they have? Like, I think 007 is just one of the agent cadences. There was a 007 before James Bond in the first one, where he comes in and takes the role of 007. So I think that what you're worried about isn't going to happen unless they do a spinoff from this. But I 100% from everything I've read says that this was they've blown it up. Now they go back, and it's going to go right back to Her Majesty's Secret Service. They're going to go right back to the beginning, and we're going to be introduced to a brand new James Bond and how this whole new James Bond, a new Q, a new M, a new everybody. Yes. Everybody that's been in the Daniel Craig's James Bond films, it's gone. It's over. And now we're moving on. And so you talk about them possibly doing a female. I don't think they're going to take a female and change a character that's a male novel character, dozens of books, and make him a female. I think that they're going to go with, but I do think, and this is my vote, and I know it sounds really strange, but
I've heard a couple names too. I want to see if you heard the same ones.
Well, see, mine is a little bit different because mine's an actor who is actually an openly gay man who's played straight characters as well. But we've had straight men play gay characters plenty of times in the past. But is a gay man that is perfect as a 007. In fact, he couldn't remind me more of Daniel Craig 10, 12 years ago than he does like as a person. And I'm not sure if you know who I'm talking about, but he was in a couple of films. He was in The Hobbit, for example, but not Orlando Bloom. The Hobbit film, the new Hobbit trilogy, by the way.
Okay.
And so, gosh, I'm trying to get where is this? I'm trying to pull up this picture too, because it'll.
It's not Ian McKellen.
No, not Ian. No. Luke Evans. Luke Evans. If you're not familiar with who Luke Evans is, Luke Evans has been in a couple of other things. He also played in the. He played Jean Valjean in Beauty and the Beast. He played what's his name in Beauty and the Beast? The big meatball, Gaston. But he's been in a bunch of films. I mean, he's been like in Clash of the Titans. He was Apollo, Robin Hood. The Raven. He was, obviously The Hobbit. He's Fast and the Furious. He's Owen Shaw in Fast and the Furious 6. He played Dracula. Fate and the Furious. He's been in a ton of Fast and the Furious movies. He's also played, he was in Midway, Crisis, Pinocchio. He, to me, embodies exactly what you look for in a James Bond. Gay or not, I don't care. He can play, but he is a good-looking dude who, again, James Bond's got to be a little bit. He can't be young. James Bond is always like in his 30s. He's 42. Yes. He's got abs to die for. I picture him as a perfect continuation of the Daniel Craig looking Bond with a little bit more of a rough face, but a good-looking face. And obviously, like a just swollen cut, like a James Bond. Watching Daniel Craig in this one, I felt like, this guy's old, man. How does he they blew
How does he do that?
they blew up a thing right in front of him and knocked him 20 feet in the ground. How is he not just done? Like you're 50, man. Ouch! Like you're gonna feel that. I don't care. But
Yumper would a good name. Michael Fassbender.
Fassbender would be a good
name.
That'd be a popular choice. He's British. Yeah. Yes. Luke Evans is British.
There's two guys I could think of. And I think they both fit the character, but for vastly different reasons. The first one is Idris Elba, because I think he would bring that suave, debonair James Bond approach, sort of like the Pierce Brosnan type of James Bond. Mm-hmm. The other one I heard, which to me would be Daniel Craig 2.0, is Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yep.
Mm-hmm. Which he would be the uncouth, badass, let me just punch you out before I even ask you a question type of guy. Mm-hmm. Where he's not that good looking. It sounds weird to say it this way, but he's not that good looking, so to speak, because if you really look at the Bonds before Daniel Craig, much more attractive. Even Sean Connery with his bad hairpiece at the end there, still better looking than Daniel Craig.
See, Daniel Craig, I was saying that rugged face. He has like a rugged. He has a weathered face. Like that's of a guy that's been kind of seen some action, I guess you could say. Yeah,
right. Well, Wally, to your point about, and Yumper, to your point about Tom Hardy, weren't those the same things being said about Daniel Craig before Casino Royale came out? If you remember, people were in an uproar about Daniel Craig being named the next James Bond.
Then they saw him in a banana hammock and changed their mind. First shot with a banana hammock. Okay, never mind.
The thing I will say about the Bond movie, I knew how it was going to end based on one line at the very beginning. Because if you're familiar with Bond movies, spoiler alert, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, there's a line said at the beginning of the movie that comes directly from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And if you know how that ends, you know how this is going to end. And do you know what line I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
When they're driving at the very, very beginning, what does he say to her? It's the theme song at the end of the movie.
No Time to Die?
No.
What does he say? I forget.
We have all the time in the world.
Oh. Which is obviously...
When he says that to her in a car, that is from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, because that's the name of the song from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which they play at the end credits. That's the Louis Armstrong song you hear. Uh-huh. And if you know how On Her Majesty's Secret Service ends, you know what it is.
Mm-hmm. And Jack actually throws a good point. I was actually going to throw this out there too. Yeah, a really good possibility. Who's British? He's attractive. He already has played that spy. Henry Cavill, Cavill. He might be a decent one. I'm looking at some of these too. Dev Patel was one thrown out there. Who's okay. It'd be interesting a little bit. He was really good in The Green Knight. I thought fantastic in that. They also have Regé Jean Page. I think it is the guy from Bridgerton. Henry Cavill, Richard Madden. One of the Stark kids from Game of Thrones, who's in the new Eternals film. James Norton from Grant Chester and McMafia. Meh. Dev Patel might be too bad. Nick Holt was interesting. And there's a picture of him in a tux. Nick Holt, if you don't know, that's the guy who played Beast in X-Men. He was in Mad Max Fury Road. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is British. And he was really good in Tenet, by the way. And people don't even realize it's the same guy because he's so different looking now than he did in Kick-Ass.
Just screw it. Go with Hugh Grant.
You've got Henry Golding, the guy from Crazy Rich Asians. Tom Hiddleston, Loki, as a Bond might work, but he was in that show, The Night Manager, so he's played kind of that part before.
Charlie Hunnam. I like that one.
John Boyega too. They got John Boyega thrown in there. Dan Stevens from Eurovision, hilarious. Oliver Jackson Cohen from Invisible Man. Let's see here. Tom Hopper from Black Sails and Game of Thrones. Always. Yeah, Cumberbatch is in there. Yeah, that's also a good one too. Yeah, so there's some, and again, it's got to be British. I think you got to have a British, part. This isn't like this is not an American franchise. Just as much as we don't, we kind of Americans get all bent out of shape when a British
Superman and Batman are played by British guys.
People get so mad, and now we don't even want to start talking about Superman's son right now because another Superman's really upset that Superman's son is gay. But hey, whatever. Yes. Which I think is funny.
Or is he bi?
Bi.
Wait, is he gay or is he bi?
He's bi, actually. He's bi. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, but it's funny because he's mad. I'm like, that's not Superman. That's not Kal-El, dumbass. That's Kal-El's kid. So I'm like, get your head out of your ass. What's his name? From Lois and Clark or whatever. Idiot.
Dean Cain?
Dean Cain, my God.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I met him once too, and he's literally an empty head. He's like, just point and go. Just go over there, sir. Thanks. Read off the teleprompter. All right. But so there's a lot of options for that. No time to, but with Bond, we've got, this is going to be the fun. You've got odds. There's odds. Vegas has odds for this. What are the odds? Let's see what the odds are. Here we go. So we got odds. Who'll be the next James Bond according to the Sun? All right. So let's see. So Tom Hardy. Okay. So Regé Jean Page is actually 6-4 odds to become James Bond. Okay. Tom Hardy 9-4. James Norton is 4-1 odds. Lashana Lynch, well, she is already the 007. So, whoops, spoiler alert. Idris Elba's 8-1. Luke Evans, he's on there, 10-1. Okay. Henry Cavill 12-1. Richard Madden 16-1. And those are the only ones that I had. But I tell you what, Luke Evans to me would be a pick. I don't know about Richard Madden. I don't know. He always used to annoy me on Game of Thrones, I'll be honest. But what about maybe Jon Snow? Kit Harington can play the part of 007. You know nothing, 007. That would be pretty humorous for him to. But also in here we get the Bond girls too. So this one had Rami Malek too as the bad guy who he was, I thought, really creepy. You had your Bond creepy. Lashana Lynch. She wasn't a Bond girl, but Ana de Armas, who is
Lashana Lynch was. Which one was she?
The replacement.
The replacement. Okay. And then who was the one that he teamed up with for 5 minutes?
Right. Who, by the way, was in all the trailer a ton. Yeah, that's Ana Celia de Armas Caso. She's from. She was also in. What's it called? The other Daniel Craig, the mystery movie. Knives Out. The Knives Out. She's absolutely. She was actually dating Ben Affleck for a bit, but she's just in. I told Carrie, my girlfriend, this. She's gorgeous in this film, and she's awesome. She plays the action role and all that stuff. She was good, and every scene that she was in, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. She's absolutely stunning. In this film.
The funny thing about it is, when you meet her compared to who she is, it's night and day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a spy game.
It's hysterical too, because you get the great one-liner. 2 weeks, really? Whatever it was he said.
And let's see, Naomi Harris came back. She played M or Q or no, Moneypenny. You got Ray Fiennes is still in it. Rory Kinnear. Christopher Waltz is still in this too. He has he returns from his previous. Jeffrey Wright returns again, which is great.
Yes.
Leah Seydoux, I guess is her name, is the love interest, of course. Again, Rami Malek is really good. Billy Magnuson plays a Paul Walker evil clone. You've got. I mean, this was. I thought this was a really good film, and the director, if you didn't know this, was Cary Fukunaga, who also wrote the movie It, and directed Beasts of No Nation, which is a fantastic film. If you've never seen Beasts of No Nation, he wrote, directed, produced it. It was a Sundance film in 2015. Fantastic film. If you ever get a chance to see that as well. But this one, Fukunaga is actually working on a Napoleon film now, post all this, and he's also doing a film about Hiroshima. Written, and then he's doing an Alexandre Dumas film, which is dumbass. No, I'm kidding.
One of the best ones from the Shawshank Redemption.
Yep, yes, it is.
I got this book by Alexander Dumbass.
So that's that. And then the last little bit of entertainment. I would recommend seeing both if you get a chance. On the big screen, they're great. On the little screen, has been a cult classic, and I'm not sure if you've gotten to watch any of these episodes yet, but I hope after this podcast that you would. You give it at least a couple episodes in. Give it 2 episodes. First episode slow. Second episode, you're like, holy shit. But Squid Game.
Can I say one thing real quick? Jack, you know what car he was driving. Jack, you know what car he was driving.
Did they just wait? What's going on? Oh, okay. I was like, wait, did Tennessee just score another? They just kicked a field goal. So the Squid Game it's huge. Now I don't know how many of you guys are in the chat right now that have seen it. Have watched the whole thing. It's a 9 episodes, I believe. If you're a huge fan of like The Running Game, for example, very much up your alley. I was told by my students, "Have you watched the Squid Game?" I'm like, "No." Is this like some stupid new game show like the teenagers are like freaking out about? I'm like, "No." Like, "Oh yeah, it's a bit." And I'm like, "Okay." I assumed it was a game show, so I turned on the first episode thinking it was an actual like one of those. What's that one show where they beat the crap out of everybody? They run the obstacle course and then everyone gets hit, and it's it's always in. Like
Wipeout or whatever it is.
Yeah, Wipeout. Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, and it wasn't Wipeout at all. And I was like, oh, so I kind of lost interest at first because it wasn't what I thought it was. But Squid Game is a weekend with Wally in Vegas.
I can testify.
And you know what? That's true because when you're with Wally, all that money that Wally wins from the roulette table, which is incredible, is ringing into the piggy bank, the little pig that hangs above the Squid Game. You're damn right. Wally's. Hey, if you want to gamble with Wally. Throw your number 7, number 30.
Number 30. Yep.
There's your winning. It's going to win. Okay. All right. Yep. There, Jacob. Don't you talk about poor Wally. Although an interesting part of the Vegas trip was me actually trying to spell Wally's last name, trying to get into the circle pool. That was a shit show, but that was really neat too. Yeah. And speaking of Squid Game. Moneybags Wally out there trying to like drunken Wally trying to buy tickets to go to the boxing match. I'll just buy everybody front row seats. Poor bartender at Atomic Liquors just like this guy right here, huh? And then the lady that sits down next to us with a fucking live gremlin. I was like, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on? It was a special day that day. But anyway, so Squid Game, it's a Korean film, South Korean film. It's basically a game show that they find a bunch of people that are basically, I mean, I wouldn't say losers, but kind of losers, but they have generally redeemable qualities, are basically, they join this game. And obviously they're kids games that you play, but they have real world consequences. And so I don't want to spoil anything else other than the fact that it is just, after you get the first game, when they play the first game, you're stuck. You're stuck. You cannot, I mean, this is the problem with me is I would watch an episode. I would start one at like 9:30 at night. Big mistake. I'm not going to bed till 12:30, 1 in the morning. I'm watching three episodes until I have to go to bed. Like I have to go to sleep because I got school the next day. But very good. I
was gonna say
it was the most watched film on Netflix in history. And so 456 players drawn from different walks of life but deep in debt play a series of children's games for the chance to win 45.6 billion won in a deadly penalty if you lose. So it's and a lot of people love it. Like if you guys have watched it in the chat, you guys would know what I'm talking about. It's fantastic, but it's worth watching. Let's get a chance. But watch Wally gamble. That's the different Squid Game completely.
No, watch Wally talking to bartenders is a Squid Game in itself.
I'm not joking. I videoed Wally was drunkenly counting his money after his big roulette run on a Saturday afternoon. And it was a 29-second video of him counting $100 bills, 2 per second. I'm like, son of a bitch, you are an asshole. Give me that stack. Wally's buying dinner. That's all I could think about every time he's counting it because he just won, man. Bet on 7 and 30. Fuck, he's got it down. $25 on 7 and 30 each one. Boom, boom, boom. And hit like a bunch too.
But I know at one point he hit 7s back to back.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And so that was fun. And you and I got to go hop over to Caesars and go sit and watch the Alabama loss, coupled with the Notre Dame win, coupled with the Dodgers Giants game, sitting at a really nice cigar bar, drinking some whiskey.
Listening to that asshole Dodger fan next to you.
Oh yeah, that was great. But that was great. That stogie lasted like an hour, man. That was a long ass stogie. Mm-hmm. I felt like we were there a lot longer than an hour. It was probably even more longer than that, but that was good. You turned me on to the V cut, if that makes sense. I really rarely ever used the V cut, and so I'm a big fan of that now. And
he also learned the trick about dunking the tip of the cigar in the booze.
Oh yeah, that's like a nice little nummy there. Save it a flavor. Yeah, it's got me like, again, I told my buddy we had my girlfriend's event this weekend was the Power of Love Gala, and we had to run the red carpet, and it was exhausting. I mean, we were busy, and I, of course, after the night was over, I had 3 drinks. I was drinking some 12-year Macallar, and got a little bit too tipsy, but that's okay. But the idea of bringing stogies and smoking them after that too, like now all of a sudden you got me into a stogie phase, so I blame you. My girlfriend will hate you now because I will be smoking one on the back porch.
Wait, what? A woman hating me? Shocking.
Nah, but the smell is not so great. But for me, that was a great time. I'm so glad you guys got a chance to get here. Better yet, it was a very special experience with the Bears winning. I was really sad I couldn't bring you guys down to the Wynn Field Club, which if you guys aren't familiar, I got to watch the game from the Wynn Field Club. A friend hooked it up. And it's basically, I was literally next to, I could have gotten my finger accidentally caught in the net next to the goalpost every time they raised it because we were up against the wall, literally up against the end zone. So seeing Justin Fields' first career touchdown pass from like 5 feet away basically was pretty neat. Got some cool footage down there. And while down there, I was informed that I will also get that hookup now for the Rolling Stones concert on November 6th. So I will be stage side for the Stones, last concert in Vegas ever. So I'm pretty pumped about that one too.
You get to see the wrinkles on Mick Jagger and Keith Richards up close.
He told me I was going to be so close, I'm going to smell Mick Jagger's balls. I'm like, okay. I bet it smells old.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
probably well used too.
We had a good time though. I'm glad you got a chance to get out here. It was great hanging out with Wally too. For the limited, I got Wally Saturday, so I got a little. I know it's a sweet brag. I know, Jack. But we got to hang out with Wally and you obviously and the guys from the Score 670. That was nice, kind of hanging out, and you guys got to see the Circle Pool. I did get to give you guys a little bit of a tour. Took you down to Atomic Liquors for those casino fans. Same bar that Joe Pesci stabs a guy in the neck with a pen. Same garage next door that they popped the guy's eyeball out of his head for Charlie fucking M or whatever. Charlie M. You make me pop your eyeball? Charlie fucking M. Sorry. And that's right next door. So we got to see that. Took you guys around a little bit and then went back to the hotel, and you called it. Wally went upstairs to go grab something and then went to sleep. And that's when we went over to Caesars. Travel Wally is a special kind of beast, apparently. Predictable, if anything.
Well, you missed him Sunday. That's
true.
There were pictures put on Twitter of him Sunday.
Any hip thrusts?
No hip thrusts, but sleeping in a cab.
Oh, okay. He bobbleheaded a little bit. Turned in a guy on the couch all of a sudden.
No, he was spread across the back seat.
That's great. That was a good time, man. That stadium was something else. They need one of those in Arlington Heights. I'll tell you that. Arlington Heights could use one of those babies.
Oh,
Roomba
yes,
or not. We know what it feels like to be inside of a Roomba now, too. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah. That's what the Bears need, is something like that stadium. That stadium is phenomenal. The seats that we were at, don't get me, we were on the 200 level. We were right in front of the eternal flame to Al Davis that they like before every game. And let me say this, it was just freaking me out that they would announce each unit and play the Raiders music with it. Oh, here come the quarterback.
Gotta have all some of that old school stuff.
Yeah, here come the wide receivers. It was just like, okay, we get it. We were right in front of that like orchestra and band that they had. Basically, the stage where what's his name played the halftime show.
I
Ludacris. Can't think of it. Ludacris. Yeah, where Ludacris, who, by the way, Wally ran into Ludacris on his way to the stage right before halftime.
He's right in your section.
Yeah,
you guys, your section's right by that stage.
Yeah, and Wally goes, "I just ran into Ludacris." We're like, yeah, he's doing the halftime show.
How about the in between shows?
Yeah, he's like, why is he up here? Because he's doing it right there. No, he'll be down. No, he's right up there.
Yeah, that's their little spot. That's where they had the lady lounge singers too. They were like, between like quarters. I'm like, this is like a straight lounge act. That's great.
Yes. Raiders.
Yes, they were quiet. It was 60-40 Bears fans too. It was great when it was over because Bears fans kind of hung around a little bit longer. I'll tell you this though, that Field Club, we ordered, this is insane. We got 2 Red Bull vodkas and a bottle of water, $82.
Oh.
We went outside, got like pizza, hot dogs, beers, pizza, $32.
Oh, and by the way, you know what stand I was right by, don't you? And I had to try it.
Fugu Burger?
No, the other one you mentioned.
Sliding through?
No, the Bao's.
Oh, you tried graffiti bao. Okay. Did you get that Royale with cheese?
Yes.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic. And the barbecue one.
It's basically for those of you that are not sure, it's a bao, but it has the all the Big Mac ingredients.
Yes.
Which they call it the Royale with cheese, Pulp Fiction reference, obviously. But it's a Big Mac bao. It's between that and then the one I went to my girlfriend's client Planet. It's called Plant Planet or Plant something, Plant Power. And it's a fast food, all vegan. It's not healthy, but they have a thing called a Big Zac. It's the biggest Big Mac I've ever seen, and it's a vegetarian. And it tasted just like a Big Mac. I could only eat half of it. It was so big, though. It's like insane. But anyway, that Big Mac seemed to have been the theme last couple of weeks. Yeah, that was a good trip. So, I mean, I don't have...
By the way, Money Baby.
Oh, yeah.
Go there and order the truffle pizza. Oh, my God.
And the truffle wings. The truffle
wings, too, yes.
I'm actually... Terry wants me to snag Chasen and send him over there now, too. So I'm going to end up back over there. That was great. And you guys left... Or you left a little bit, and it was kind of funny. I was at the table. We had a table, and Pete was calling it a night, and I'm like, well, we still got $100 still left on our comp tab. So I'm like, I'm going to stick around and finish this. I'm going to try and get $100 worth by myself. So I stayed there, and when he was walking out, it was pretty dead when we were there. But as he walks out, he texts me, there's a line out here. I'm like, that's weird. It's dead in here. 30 minutes after Pete leaves, a full rap concert starts. Like it's packed elbow to elbow. In fact, incredible. And some of you may know who this person is. I had no freaking clue who it is, but it's who is it? Russ, the rapper Russ or Roos or Russ. I know. Clue. But I got a bunch of texts like, "You saw Russ?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was sitting at a table. He was right in front of me, like 5 feet away." Like where our table was. So like I sat and I drank a little bit more and I ate. I just kept kind of playing with the pizza that was kind of still sitting there. I think I got some French fries, I think, and just sat creepily in my own table watching a rap show with all these young adults dancing and jumping around. I'm just sitting there like I felt like a guy. I felt like Tony Montana. I really felt like I was like a kingpin. Like this guy gets his own table. Oh, want to play games? Like I was like, fine, I'm a big roller right here, reserved for me. Yeah. And then yes. Maddie, you met Maddie, came over, one of the general managers or whatever. Unfortunately, after I had a few too many beers, I thought I was texting my other friend Maddie, going, I'm over here at the VIP all by myself, eating food, and nothing bad or anything. And then I kept texting because he didn't respond, and then it turned out I was texting Maddie, the GM of Money Baby. Oops. My bad. He texted Carrie, he's like, your boyfriend's texting me. I'm like, oh shit. Wrong, Maddie. Didn't say anything inappropriate, but I sure did. I was blowing him up, and he was like, "Why is this idiot texting me?" But he's actually funny. His name's Matty. He's my only Mexican ginger friend. He's a Mexican.
Yes, that was a little weird to see.
It's great. He's a good dude. But Money Baby, they're all real good. If you do come into Vegas though, and you get a chance, head on over there. And if you're coming to Vegas and you know me, hit me up and we'll go together. I'll go over there anytime. I love that place. It's right there in the Virgin Hotel.
Yep.
which used to be the Hard Rock Hotel, and it's right there. It used to be the club, the big old club there. So it's a really good space. They got TV, great place to watch a game. There's TVs just around the place. Everywhere you look, it's just you're covered with TVs. So that was fun though. We got a chance to eat, and we had a $250 comp between two people, and we used all of it.
Yeah. Were you there? Were you at Circa when I was asked if I was A, Gas Money Bob, and B, Mitch Rosen?
No, you texted me that though when it happened. About died.
The kid goes, "Are you Gas Money Bob?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not that good looking."
That's so funny.
So I happen to know Gas Money Bob. So I sent him a message and I tweeted it too. I said, "By the way, someone asked me if I'm Gas Money Bob." And he responds, "Are you?" I'm like, "I'm not that good looking." And then I told Mitch Rosen that someone asked if I was you, Mitch. You know, Mitch Rosen, Mailman Jack's best bud. And he just started laughing his ass off when I told him that. And when I told Shane Reardon that too, he just started laughing as well. And again, the guys at the Score, Shane, Spiegel, we had a long conversation. Wally and I had a long conversation with Mrs. Spiegel, as well as separately Spiegel and Parkins, and just awesome dudes all around.
Mm-hmm.
Incredibly gracious, letting us hang out there while they were doing their show. I still have no idea who that Bears player was at the end that they were talking to.
Well, it was great too.
No
You
clue who that was.
Pool. You were a big fan of that pool.
Oh God! If you ever get the chance, go to the Circa pool. If only for the wait staff.
Yeah,
that's a good starting point.
It's good scenery.
It's phenomenal. What would you say? Those TV monitors, 5-6 stories.
Oh, and the clarity too. The clarity
Yes.
of the television of the screens is just like at the Raiders game too. They've gotten to this point with technology where these giant screens are crystal clear. I mean, they're like 8K, and it's just again. What was going on? Saturday was football.
Friday was the Sox game.
Sox game was on Friday, right? And then that was up on the screen. And then by the time I got down there after school, I think we had the Braves. I think the Braves were playing. I think at that point,
yeah, the Braves and Brewers. Yes,
right. And then Saturday was all the college football games and all that stuff. And then drunk Wally, who was just trying to he just wanted to go gamble at that point. But we got to hang out.
Now be right. He was Wally at that point, not Drunk Walter.
Oh, that's right. Drunk Walter still was a little bit away. We were still
drunk.
A minute outbound. He was outbound or inbound.
Yes.
Inbound. But no, and that was a great. Again, I appreciated you guys letting me kind of tag along with you guys on your Vegas weekend too. I just hanging out with you guys.
We got to tour downtown. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, the only thing I'm actually sad I didn't get a chance to go over to Bagel Mania with you guys. We should have gone over there.
And the only question what was the name of that Hunter S. Thompson drink?
The Hunter S. Mash or the Hunter Smash, depending on
the Hunter Smash. Yeah.
Yeah, over at Atomic, which is it's their signature cocktail. It's a place where it's the oldest standing bar in America or in Vegas. It's where they used to watch the atomic testing, actually. And yeah, it's got a lot of Hunter S. Thompson lore there. They have an old bottle of Old Crow that he used to drink. They have a time capsule on the floor from it's got old chips from 1950 something. But it's an old bar.
Room key.
Yeah, like an old room key. And it's a really cool old bar. Great place to go. And to grab a drink. And we got to go there. Yeah, so we got that. It's an old bar, good mixed cocktails, but that's been one of my girlfriend's clients for a long time. They're no longer her client, but Lance, their owner, does a great job. He's a good guy, bought the place and keeps it going. That place is just, it's got to exist. And it's right there at the end of the East Fremont district. There's also some really good restaurants kind of over that way too. But again, there's just so little time. You only can eat so many dinners, but next time we've got a couple other places.
I want to go to that restaurant where if you weigh more than 350 pounds, you eat free.
When
do they weigh you? When do they weigh you? When you go in or when you leave?
There, right in front of everybody. Right in front of everybody. Like you walk in, there's that scale is actually on the front. That sign that said where it said the 350 pounds, that's an actual scale. You go stand on it. So like people that actually hit it are like standing in front of 100 people watching him weigh in, and like they cheer the guy on. Like, yeah, you're 350. Holy kick return for a touchdown. Oh, that was a hold. Oh, bring it back. Oh, that sucks for the Bills. Oh, man, a touchdown, kickoff return for a touchdown with 3 minutes to go in the game, down 3, and they're going to bring it back for a hold on the kicker. They held the kicker. Just drill the guy, man. What are you doing holding the kicker? Let the kicker go for the hit even.
Yeah. one of the things I wanted to say, when I went and seen The Last Duel, I did get to see the trailer for The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, baby. Come December, I'm all over that.
Oh yeah, AMC Dolby Digital for me. Big.
Hell yes. Because
Give it
I
to
went to an AMC to see The Last Duel and Bond as well. So
Big fan of it.
And Dune coming out this weekend, I believe.
This weekend, yeah, Saturday for me. We're going at 2:00. We've got I have three other buddies technically. I don't know if the third one's going to show up, but we're meeting for lunch. We're going to go for like 2-hour lunch. We're going to drink some whiskey. We're going to drink some craft beers at a place called Sicky's Garage at Town Square. Then we're going to go see the movie. Obviously, you don't want to drink too much beer because you don't want to pee during the movie, especially if it's a longer movie. But we're going to go do that. And one of my buddies, Matt, Mark, who's going to be coming with us. I was just like, I invited him, and I'm like, "You're a Dune fan, aren't you? I feel like you're a huge Dune fan." And he sends me a picture, and I can't put it up on the screen right now. It's a picture of him holding this book, Dune. And then he sends me the next thing, a link to the value of that book. He's got a first edition copy of Dune. It's worth $35,000.
Fuck.
I'm like, oh, I'm coming over. Can I borrow a cup of sugar? But
Good for him.
He's a big fan of Dune. And so, yeah, we're going to go see some Dune. I heard it's really good. The reviews have been coming in that it's really good, that it's going to become the next big sci-fi franchise because they've got so much material they can use. And
Dennis Villeneuve, hopefully, is it
Villanueva?
Mm-hmm. Yes, who directed Blade Runner 2049,
Arrival,
which is a very underrated movie, Arrival.
Mm-hmm. What was the other ones that he's done?
He didn't do. No, it wasn't him who did Gravity. That wasn't him.
Not Gravity. No, his was he did Prisoners, Enemy, Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner, and now Dune. Sicario's fantastic too.
Yes.
This one he wrote, directed, and produced, whereas the other ones, most of the stuff he's always done, he just was the director. So this is a big jump for him to do. But he is a brilliant eye. Who is the cinematographer for Dune? This is something
And I'll say one thing: the Dune that was made in the 1980s was a Kyle MacLachlan and Sting and a young Patrick Stewart. Awful. I tried watching it last year during the lockout when I first got HBO Max. Awful.
Which one? What?
The Dune from the 1980s.
Oh,
Dune.
the one with the Lynch, the David Lynch version.
Yeah, with Sting and Kyle MacLachlan. Awful.
That was it's the Dune itself has been like an urban myth of a production nightmare in Hollywood for so many years that it's like trying to, I don't know, it's been a pain. They've been
trying to make Titanic.
Yeah, kind of. We've been trying for decades to get a new Dune out since the Lynch version, and they finally got it. But this should be interesting. I'm pumped for it. Again, we've got a lot of good movies coming out over the next couple months. They did push out a bunch of Marvel just did some reshuffling, but DC just went ape shit on Saturday with their DC Fan Fest and dropped a trailer for the new Batman. They dropped the trailer for Flash. They dropped the trailer for Black Adam. They dropped the trailer for Shazam. They were dropping trailers like drops of
was their virtual fan fest or whatever it was.
Virtual fan fest. It was the Batman trailer, incredible. The new Black Adam looks incredible. Shazam looked great, and I'm really pumped for Flash. Like
The Rock playing Black Adam.
Now in the trailer for the spoiler, I'm going to spoil it. I don't give a shit. The spoiler alert for the trailer with the new Flash trailer. At the end, a certain Batman and his silhouette pop up on screen, and then there's a certain car underneath a covered curtain that is ripped off, but we don't see what car it is. But if you look at the ears and you're familiar with those ears, those same Batman ears took down Jack Nicholson, Danny DeVito, Christopher Walken in a weird way. So it was Michael Keaton's Batman.
And was thinking about fooling around with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yep, Mr. Mom as a Batman. So Mr. Mom's Batman shows up at the end of the trailer. You know they're gonna. So this is a multiverse kind of thing, and they're really gonna go big for it.
And there was also another part of that Flash trailer that I don't know if a lot of people caught.
Which one? Two Flashes?
Yeah.
Oh, obviously, if there's a multiverse, because we know Flash runs into himself all the time, and I think we're going to see the TV show Flash.
Yes.
The guy from the TV show. Yep. He's going to crowd this multiverse. DC's multiverse and then Marvel's multiverse are going to be two very dynamically different things because they're going to be battling very different types of villains too. Yes. Where you're dealing with what's his name in the Marvel stuff that Loki kind of introduced, and now they're going to obviously he's like in 3 or 4 different Kang the Conqueror or whatever.
Oh
he's going to be in a bunch of them because he's going to be there's a bunch of versions of himself. But he's like they've unleashed the timeline, so a lot of good stuff. I love that they're playing with the multiverses, and I know that. Even Disney, Kevin Feige even said that it's not out of the question that in the future you might get a DC Marvel crossover one day. Who knows? If there's money to be made.
They did it. They did some in the 70s and 80s. They did a Spider-Man Superman crossover, giant size comic book, and then they did a Batman Hulk giant size comic book as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that's what we got. That coming up. We got Eternals coming up, which is going to be interesting. And then we got Spider-Man, Far From Home or No Way Home or whatever the new one is, which will also be multiverse based because we're seeing Doc Octopus from the Tobey Maguire. We may be seeing Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man.
There are rumors that they both appear.
And they're teasing it hard.
Yes.
So there's one more trailer coming for Spider-Man, and that may be one of the at least quasi reveals.
Yeah. Ghostbusters, another one coming. Yes, which looks very, very good.
And the critics that are giving it bad reviews, it's specifically because they call it fan service. It's Ghostbusters. It fucking better be fan service.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say. It's Ghostbusters. I want fan service. I want nostalgia. That's the point. Why are we trying to, do we have to edgify Ghostbusters? Shut up. Look, this is fun, stupid. And it looks good. It's Jason Reitman's got a great eye.
Yeah. And first off, Paul Rudd's in there, and you can't go wrong with Paul Rudd. Second, I love the plot line that they lay out in the movie of who the new Ghostbusters are.
Got Paul Rudd in
third. And third, I love the very last scene when they make a phone call and you know the voice who answers it.
He's got a Vegematic somewhere on the shelf too.
Yes. Yeah, Bassamatic. Yes. Just think Bassamatic 76 and you'll know the voice.
And some Crystal Skull vodka.
Yes.
Or tequila or whatever he makes.
And a bad Julia Child.
But he also likes his toast burnt.
Yes. That's right. Dry white toast.
White toast. So funny. Well, oh God, did he get a first down? No, he did not. I don't know if he got the first down, but
I
don't know. Did he get it?
A nice hurdle. But that's all I got for today. I hope we didn't bore everyone to death.
First live show, clocked in a little bit long, but that's okay. We got you guys in the chat. We appreciate you guys tuning into the chat, especially you guys.
Absolutely.
Even you, Wally, and Yumper. Thanks for sticking around the whole time. Now it saves you one less listen on our podcast.
Yes, but go listen anyway, Yumper.
Yeah, just let it stroll. Let it just roll, and just turn the volume on mute so we can at least get that listen count up. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Give us a like, give us a follow on social, whether it's with YouTube. We gotta get some of the StreamYard stuff figured out. We want to get this thing on Twitch. We want to get this thing hopping on Twitter live too as well. A couple things we got to jump through to get that taken care of. But thank you guys for tuning in. Jacob, thanks for playing. I don't know if we're supposed to say altered identities, but thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, but we appreciate you guys. I have nothing else. So Pete, last thoughts, and then take us on out.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for giving us your time, which is the greatest gift of all. So with that, be good and aloha.